Chapter 256, was like a balloon. Yunchujio talked to the strange grass in her dantian. Go Weiba, this is a great opportunity. Save up all the dense heavenly lightning. After I survive this round, I'll advance to the 6th level of spirit enhancement. When the time comes, I'll refine even more advanced medicinal pills for you. Go Weiba, we're now on the same boat. My host body is choking on its farts and you won't live either, so you better buck up. Go Weiba, I see that you're usually pretty awesome. Don't tell me you can't even deal with these little purple loaches. The strange grass in her dantian shook violently, probably conveying that it looked down on the purple heavenly lightning bolts. Yunchujio instantly felt a lot more at ease. Although the strange grass was a ticking time bomb, it would at least protect her before trying to fatten her up with nourishment. Yunchujio felt confident in her heart and she immediately started showing off. Hey! I'm tired from running, so I'm just going to sit here. If you have the ability, then strike me. If you don't dare to do so, then you're a bastard. As Yunchujio said that, she actually sat cross-legged on the ground, looking as if she was ready to be struck by lightning. The dark clouds in the sky began to churn violently. Several purple bolts of lightning gathered into 5 huge bolts of lightning as thick as a wrist, and struck down violently at Yunchujio. Yunchujio could not help but feel her scalp go numb. In the past, one such bolt of lightning could strike her no problem. However, with these 5 bolts of lightning, she definitely would have to get her hair messy. If other people knew what Yunchujio was thinking at that moment, they would definitely be angered to death. At that point in time, she was still thinking about her hair. The most important thing right then was to save her life, alright? The 5 huge bolts of lightning were like 5 purple lightning dragons, ferociously pouncing toward Yunchujio. Yunchujio made up her mind. At most, she would die. Perhaps with this strike, she would have transmigrated again. This time, she had to arrange a good family for her. If she was not going to be a princess, then at least let her date one. Just as Yunchujio's thoughts were running wild, 5 bolts of lightning had already struck her. Yunchujio could not help but let out a miserable cry. Fuck. It hurt so much. Her body seemed as though it was about to explode. All her limbs and bones were occupied by the ferocious power of lightning. The power of lightning kept crashing into Yunchujio's meridians. Yunchujio's body was obviously rapidly expanding. At that moment, only Yunchujio's brain was functioning. At that moment, she thought miserably, it's over. I'm like a balloon now. When it reaches a certain level, I'm going to explode. Dead without a complete corpse. The dark clouds in the sky shook with pride. Little fellow, let's see how you'll stagger when going up against the heavenly lightning. It'll definitely strike you into ashes. Boom. 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 The dark clouds continued to ceaselessly strike. Yunchujio felt that she was going to be doomed this time. Although the strange grass in her dantian was trying its best to absorb the lightning in her body, it could not withstand the continuous lightning strikes from the dark clouds in the sky. Just as it absorbed a portion of it, a large amount of lightning power surged into her body. She was only flesh and blood. How could she withstand such violent lightning power? Master, let me out. I'll help you absorb some. Little Black shouted from inside the spiritual beast pouch. It's useless even if you come out, Little Black. It's different this time. Why should you sacrifice your little life? Besides, we signed an equal contract. If I die, you'll be free. Yunchujio said with a bitter smile. I'm willing. Stop talking nonsense. Let me out quickly. Little Black kept banging its head against the spiritual beast pouch, as if it would kill itself if it was not let out. Chapter 257, Debeaming, Stop. Yunchujio was touched when she saw the little black bird's actions. Little Black, you're so kind. I won't bully you anymore. Every time I tricked you to go out for a walk, I was actually secretly eating good food. Little Black was stunned. Was it too late to regret? Such a heartless master. If it died, it died. So be it. After Little Black was released, the dark clouds immediately realized that this was another scourge. Several purple lightning bolts struck toward Little Black. After swallowing a few bolts, the little black bird could not take it anymore. After all, it was still a young bird. To be able to swallow a few bolts of lightning was already extremely heaven-defying. Little Black's feathers began to fall off quickly. If they fell off, it would not be able to resist the lightning at all. The rolling pin in the storage ring shouted anxiously, "Master, let me out. I might be able to help you block it after I transform." "Nonsense, after you transform, you're just a mortal weapon. These purple loaches can split you into pieces in an instant. Wait patiently. I won't die so easily," Yun Chujio said as she put Little Black into her spirit beast pouch. "Master, why did you put me back? Let me out." "Why would I let you out? To make you become a bald chicken? Don't worry, a scourge like me won't die." Although Yun Chujio's tone was light, the skin on her body started to bleed. Yun Chujio felt that her consciousness started to become a little blurry. She could not even feel the pain in her body anymore. She allowed the power of lightning in her body to continuously crash into her meridians. Why did the heavenly lightning not strike her again? Yun Chujio forced herself to focus. She saw a white figure standing in front of her. Both of his hands were continuously forming seals. Gigolo. Was she hallucinating? Yun Chujio bit her tongue. Her mind became clearer. When she took a closer look, she saw that it really was Beiming. Beiming was continuously forming seals to resist the heavenly lightning that struck down on her. Yun Chujio still remembered the last time she was struck by heavenly lightning. Beiming kept dodging it comically. Was he stupid? He actually took the hit for her. Cough cough. Yun Chujio spat out a mouthful of blood and said weakly, "Gigolo, get lost. I can do it myself." Beiming did not stop forming seals and snorted coldly, "How dare you scold me, black thing? I won't forgive you. Your mortal body is still useful. Even the heavenly lightning can't take you away. Even if I'm dead, you can still drain blood from me. They're coming for me. Get lost." Yun Chujio did not know where her strength came from, but she struggled to stand up and ran a few steps to the side. Then, she shouted to the sky, "Bastards, heavenly lightning. I'm here, strike me. If you don't, you're a coward." The heavenly lightning immediately changed its target and struck at Yun Chujio. Beiming gritted his teeth and rushed over. "Black thing, are you courting death?" Beiming blocked Yun Chujio behind him again and kept forming seals to resist the heavenly lightning. An Feng and an Yin also rushed over at that time. The three of them protected Yun Chujio in the middle and dispersed most of the heavenly lightning. The power of the heavenly lightning was not something a human could resist. An Yin and an Feng were soon knocked out. Fortunately, the target of the heavenly lightning was clear. Seeing that the two of them had fainted, it did not bother with them anymore. Beiming's white clothes had been torn into wisps, and his hair had turned into charcoal. His hands were moving slower and slower, and blood began oozing out from his eyes, ears, mouth, and nose. Beiming. Stop. I don't need you to care about me. Get lost. Yun Chujio shouted at the top of her lungs as blood and tears flowed from her eyes. Chapter 258, Even the heavens are not allowed to touch my person, cough cough. Black thing, shut up. Even the heavens are not allowed to touch my person. Beiming spat out a mouthful of blood, and then increased the speed of his seal formation. The dark clouds in the sky was also furious. Where did this idiot come from? He actually dares to help Yun Chuzhou fight against us. He's really courting death. Kill him. Although Di Baiming's spiritual power was superb, his spiritual power was suppressed in the Qingxian continent. Hence, he was already at the end of his rope at that moment. He was completely relying on his will to hold on. After another round of lightning strikes, Di Baiming spat out another mouthful of blood. His body started to shake, but his hands were still forming seals, protecting Yun Chuzhou behind the barrier. Yun Chuzhou jumped forward and her palm landed on the back of Di Baiming's neck. Di Baiming was solely focused on holding off the heavenly lightning when Yun Chuzhou hit him. His body went limp, and he fell to the ground. Yun Chuzhou was a bloody person as her body was covered in blood. She moved forward with difficulty, then straightened her body and laughed at the sky. Strike me. You can continue to strike me. I'm here. Come strike me. When the heavenly thunder heard Yun Chuzhou's clamor, it immediately struck at Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou was initially standing, but soon sat on the ground before falling over. Even so, Yun Chuzhou continued to provoke the heavenly thunder. You useless little loaches. So many bolts of lightning still can't kill me. You're really useless. Are you all old, weak, sick, and disabled? What a bunch of weaklings. If you have the ability, then just keep attacking me. Let's see who will have the last laugh. You weaklings. The reason why Yun Chuzhou was so arrogant was to attract all the heavenly lightning to her side. No matter what, she could not let the gigolo die because of her. The blood on Yun Chuzhou's body dyed the ground red. Yun Chuzhou felt that her life force was gradually dissipating. Was she really going to die this time? Yun Chuzhou's consciousness began to slip. Scenes from the past flashed in her mind. Her grandfather, who loved her deeply, her brother and sister who valued their family, and her gigolo who was hard-mouthed but soft-hearted. Seeing that, the dark clouds in the sky could not help but become even more arrogant. Bolts of lightning struck down one after another. You heaven-defying scourge. You're dead for sure this time. Yun Chuzhou's eyes suddenly shone brightly. No, she could not die. She had not fulfilled her promise to protect the Yun family. She had not found her missing foster parents. She had not even asked her gigolo to kneel down and sing for her. Regardless of whether it was thunder or land mines, Yun Chuzhou would never yield. Yun Chuzhou suddenly sat up and began to meditate with her legs crossed. Since the thunder root spirit in her body wanted to push her to her death, then she would refine all of it. Let's see whether you'll kill me or I'll absorb you. Yun Chuzhou sealed all her five senses and completely immersed her consciousness in her meridians, constantly refining the violent thunder root spirit power in her body. The sky gradually darkened, but the thunder still had not ended. The rumbling sound was like heavy hammers hitting the hearts of Master Xianyuan and the others. It has been nearly 6 hours. The heavenly lightning hasn't ended yet. Does this mean that Yun Chuzhou is still alive? Elder Qi's voice trembled slightly. It must be so. Otherwise, the heavenly lightning would have dispersed long ago. Yun Chuzhou actually withstood the lightning strikes for 6 hours with the strength of a mortal. This is simply unbelievable. Elder Duanmu, logically speaking, shouldn't this heavenly tribulation gradually strengthen along with Yun Chuzhou's cultivation? Why is this heavenly tribulation so overbearing when Yun Chuzhou has just started cultivating? Master Xianyuan asked in puzzlement. This. I have no way of knowing. However, if she can endure it, her future is bound to be limitless. She'll definitely become a prodigy of Qingxian continent. Elder Duanmu said in a deep voice. Chapter 259 was getting livelier. Another 4 hours had passed, and the lightning strikes were still ongoing. Master Xianyuan and the others could not sit still and kept looking toward the back mountains of Middle Peak. It's been 10 hours. Even a mountain would be flattened by the lightning strikes. Besides, Yun Chujio is just a mortal. Could it be that we've made a mistake and that these heavenly lightning bolts aren't actually going for her? Elder Shao said with a frown. There wouldn't be such a large-scale purple heavenly lightning storm other than to wipe out the heavenly root spirit. Even a mighty figure who's about to ascend can only withstand 9 heavenly lightning bolts. Even if a unique legendary practitioner was born, there would only be a few heavenly lightning bolts at most. Elder Duanmu said with certainty. But how did Yun Chujio withstand so many heavenly lightning bolts? This is too unbelievable, an elder asked in puzzlement. I'm also very curious. If this little girl really can endure it, I'll definitely ask her face to face. She has always been eccentric, so maybe she has some tricks up her sleeve. Elder Chu said while stroking his beard. Let's hope that she can endure it. Even 10 hours of heavenly lightning can't even kill her. Such tenacious willpower is rarely seen in this world. She'll definitely have extraordinary achievements in the future. Yeah, let's not talk about anything else. Her heavenly root spirit is set in stone. When the time comes, she will amaze the entire Qingxian continent. She might even become the youngest ascendant in the Qingxian continent. Just as Master Xianyuan and the others were discussing, Yun Chujia's location had already been hacked into a huge deep pit. In the center of the pit was Yun Chujio, who was meditating with her legs crossed. Not far away from her was the unconscious Di Baiming. Yun Chujia's body was undergoing a huge transformation. The tyrannical lightning spirit force in Yun Chujia's body was forcefully smoothed out by her divine sense and continuously flowed into her dantian. Another leaf grew out of the strange grass and it was devouring the lightning energy that Yun Chujio smoothed out. Yun Chujia's meridians had been expanded to twice their original thickness, and they were getting stronger and stronger. Even if the lightning continued to pour in, they would not break. Finally, most of the lightning that Yun Chujio had accumulated in her body had been devoured by the strange grass. Yun Chujio suddenly opened her eyes. If someone saw Yun Chujia's eyes then, they would definitely be shocked. This was because Yun Chujia's eyes were filled with purple lightning. After a moment, Yun Chujia's eyes returned to normal. She stood up, looked up at the sky, and smiled brightly. Little Loach, I survived. If you have any other abilities, just come at me. I still have to thank you. If you didn't rush to your death, how could I cultivate so quickly? Come on. Continue to strike me. Come on. Don't strike me one by one. You guys are still gathered together. I'll take care of you together. If you don't strike me, then you admit that you're just shameless bastards. The dark clouds in the sky was dumbfounded. What was going on? Was this scourge not about to be struck to death a couple moments ago? Why was she still alive and kicking? Strike. Strike. Strike her to death. Streaks of purple heavenly lightning struck toward Yun Chujio once again. Not only was Yun Chujio not struck to death, she was even giggling. Good strike, good strike, good strike. I'm laughing out loud. You're thinking that my cultivation speed is a little slow, so you want to lend me a hand, right? You guys are really good at helping others. The dark clouds in the sky were getting increasingly disheartened as they struck her. The more they struck, the more hopeless they felt. Oh heavens, oh earth. Who can tell me why is this scourge getting livelier? The dark clouds was finally so angry that it rained heavily before drifting away with a look of despair. When Yun Chujio saw that the dark clouds had finally drifted away, she let out a long sigh. Then, she turned her head to look at Di Baiming beside her. Then, her nose started to bleed. Chapter 260, Ugh, how dizzying! Di Baiming's clothes were all turned into rags by the lightning. Yun Chujio, the small, perverted wolf, immediately had a nosebleed when she saw that. Yun Chujio was really big-hearted. Even after going through such a monumental transformation, she was still lustful enough to have the intention to take advantage of Di Baiming. She stretched out her perverted claws and wanted to pull away the rags that were in her way. At that moment, Di Biming opened his eyes, and the poor Supreme Emperor's nose started bleeding. Yun Chujiu saw that Di Biming had woken up, so she sheepishly retracted her claws and said, "Prince Charming, you're awake. I was just about to help you up." Di Biming's face turned red, and he quickly closed his eyes and said, "Why don't you have your clothes on? You're akin to a black bean sprout, and you're actually trying to seduce me?" Yun Chujiu was stunned. Then, she looked down and was doubly stunned. She was worse than a gigolo. Yun Chujiu quickly took out a set of clothes from her storage ring and put them on hurriedly. When she turned around, she saw Di Biming trying to put his clothes on with his mouth and teeth because his hands and feet were stiff. They were not cooperating at all. When he saw Yun Chujiu looking at him, he became even more anxious. In the end, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Di Biming did not have Yun Chujiu's weirdly extraordinary body. Previously, he had completely exhausted his spiritual power and suffered serious internal injuries. It was good enough that he could preserve his life. How could he be as lively as Yun Chujiu? Di Biming took out a porcelain bottle from his storage ring. Yun Chujiu helped to pour out a few pills and stuffed them into Di Biming's mouth. Di Biming swallowed the pills. Although he no longer spat out blood, his hands and feet still were not responding. Yun Chujiu saw the situation and immediately smiled with ill intentions. She began to admire the handsome man openly. Di Biming's head had been zapped bald by the heavenly lightning. However, not only was it not ugly, but it also added a mysterious aura. Looking at it made Yun Chujiu's claws itch. Di Biming's face turned red. "Black thing. Turn around for me." Yun Chujiu pouted. Although she turned her body around, she angled her head back and stared at Di Biming lecherously. "Turn your head around too." Di Biming was so angry that he gritted his teeth. The black thing was really shameless. Yun Chujiu shrugged her shoulders and said lightly, "Prince Charming, don't blame me for not reminding you. In a while, Master Xianyuan and the others will come. Do you want those old men to admire your strong body?" Di Biming's face stiffened and he gritted his teeth. "Black thing, come and help me put on my clothes." Yun Chujiu turned around and hugged her shoulders. She shook her legs and said, "I'll reluctantly help you put on your clothes. However, don't you think we should talk about the cost? As the saying goes, brothers always settle their debts. This is one thing, so you can't let me work for free, right?" Di Biming was so angry that he almost spat out another mouthful of blood. He gritted his teeth and said, "How much do you want?" "You know my price. It's 2,000 spirit stones. I think your clothes are quite complicated. I'll give you a set price of 10,000 spirit stones. How about it? Isn't it expensive?" Yun Chujiu said with a smile. "Deal." Di Biming was so angry that the veins on his forehead popped up. "Black thing, just you wait, I won't forgive you." Yun Chujiu quickly helped Di Biming put it on. Of course, during the process of putting it on, she could not help but take advantage of him and said a few flirtatious words. The miserable lord fainted once again. Yes, he fainted from anger. Chapter 261, Chopping Board. Yun Chujiu was stunned. The gigolo was so easily abashed. "I didn't say anything controversial. What a shy and innocent young man." Yun Chujiu looked up. She still did not know how to ride a sword, so how was she going to fly up? She could only wait for Master Xianyuan and the others to come and save her. If they asked the pretty boy and the others about their identities, how was she going to explain it? The rolling pin said from inside the storage ring, "Master, I'll take you guys out of this hole." Yun Chujiu took out the rolling pin doubtfully. Then, she asked with a confused look, "How are you going to do that? You want me to carry the gigolo and stand on you with 1 foot?" The rolling pin quickly became longer and wider. Then, it said proudly, "Master, after your spiritual power increased, I advanced too. I can now become big." The corner of Yun Chujia's eyes twitched. Well, it was an upgrade. The rolling pin had become a large chopping board. Yun Chujio did not have the time to complain. She carried Di Biming on her shoulder and then stood on the chopping board. The rolling pin swayed and flew up. Soon, it flew to the top of the deep pit. When Master Xianyuan and the others arrived and saw the scene below, Yun Chujio had a bald head and a bald man on her shoulder. She stood on a chopping board and emerged from the ground. Yun Chujio bared her white teeth at everyone. "Master Xianyuan, this is a natural disaster, not a man-made disaster. You won't make me pay for it, right?" The corners of everyone's mouths twitched. They never thought that Yun Chujia's first sentence would be this. Master Xianyuan coughed dryly. "Of course I won't make you compensate me. Who are you carrying on your shoulders?" This is my savior. I don't know him either. You can ask him when he wakes up later." Yun Chujio said with a confused look. She wondered to herself where Enfong and Anin were. When everyone heard this, they immediately made up their minds. No wonder Yun Chujio could endure the heavenly lightning for 10 hours. It turned out that she had the help of an expert. Elder Chu looked curiously at the chopping board under Yun Chujio's feet. "Little girl. What is this?" Yun Chujio was amused. "Remember the rolling pin that my master gave me? Once my spiritual power leveled up, it becomes more capable too." Yun Chujio yawned. "Sect master, I'm hungry and tired now. Can we talk about this tomorrow? Besides, I have an injured person here." Master Xianyuan nodded. "Leave him to me. I'll bring him back for treatment." Yun Chujio shook her head. "Before this benefactor fainted, he told me to guard him at all times. He saved my life, so I naturally can't go against his will. Just give me a couple bottles of good medicinal pills to treat his internal injuries." The corners of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched slightly. He took out a porcelain bottle from his storage ring. "This is a 6th grade muscle revitalization pill. It has a miraculous effect on internal injuries. Take it." Yun Chujio took the porcelain bottle and put it in her pocket. Then, she carried Di Biming and flew away on the chopping board. Everyone looked at Yun Chujio's back with a dumbfounded expression. They were all riding swords, all right. This Yun Chujio was riding a chopping board. Everyone naturally gossiped for a while. However, after the person in question left, everyone started leaving too. They were planning to ask about Yun Chujio's situation in detail the next day. Yun Chujio had just carried Di Biming to the dormitory when Enfong and Anin appeared from the shadows. When Yun Chujio saw their appearances, she almost fell off the chopping board. Well, those two were also bald. Chapter 262, The deity is asleep. Enfong and Anin were only knocked out by the lightning, so they did not suffer any serious injuries. Therefore, when they realized that someone was coming, they quickly stuck a concealment talisman on them and retreated. Fortunately, Master Xianyuan and the others only paid attention to Yun Chujio, so they did not notice them. "Enfong, Anin, your new hairstyle is quite cool." Yun Chujio jumped down from the chopping board and said with a smile. The corner of Enfong's eyes twitched. "Miss Chio, is our revered sir all right?" "Don't worry. It's not a big problem. He only suffered some internal injuries. His limbs are stiff and he vomited a few mouthfuls of blood." Yun Chujio carried Di Biming and walked into the house with a valiant spirit. Enfong and Anin looked at each other. It was that bad, and she thinks there's no big problem. "Miss Chio, you really have a heart of stone. Our revered lord gave up his life for you, and you're treating our revered lord like this." Yun Chujio carried Di Biming into the house and placed him on the bed. She pursed her lips and said, "Prince Charming, how long do you want to pretend? I know that you've long woken up." Di Biming opened his eyes and coughed dryly. He said weakly, "Nonsense, I have only just woken up." Yun Chujio saw that his injuries were not light, so she did not hold him to it. "Do you still need to eat any other pills? Take them out and I'll feed them to you." Yun Chujio lit the candle as she spoke. Then, she turned around and looked at Di Biming. Di Biming looked at Yun Chujio in a daze. Previously, at the bottom of the pit, the light was dim, so he did not pay much attention to it. After the black thing was struck, she had turned much fairer. Even if she did not have any hair, it did not change her delicate facial features. A pair of big, watery eyes were looking at him. She pouted her pink lips and looked at him in confusion. A certain someone's face turned red. He said awkwardly, "No need. I want dye." Yun Chujio mumbled in confusion, "It's not hot in this room. Why is your face so red? What nonsense are you spouting? Quickly turn off the lights and go to sleep." Di Biming gritted his teeth and shouted. Yun Chujio cursed in her heart. This damn gigolo, her impression of him was much better, but he was acting up again. He really deserved to be beaten up. "Now that you can't move your hands and feet, let's see how I can deal with you. Prince Charming, you have to wash up before you go to sleep. We were caught in the rain just now, so it would be nasty if we didn't wash up. Wait a minute. I'll go get hot water. In a while, I'll personally help you wash up." Yun Chujio emphasized the last two words. Poor Lord. The red tide that had faded from his face surged up once again. A beautiful scene appeared in his mind once again, and he could only roar angrily, "I want bathe. I'm sleepy. I'm going to bed." After Di Biming finished speaking, he lied to himself and closed his eyes. Yun Chujio smiled evilly and hopped out to get some hot water. Not long after, Yun Chujio came back. She took out a large wooden bucket from her storage ring. The bucket was already filled with warm water. "Prince Charming. Prince Charming. Are you asleep?" Yun Chujio moved closer to the bed and called out a few times. Di Biming closed his eyes and ignored her. "Tisk, looks like he's really asleep. Guess I'll just shower myself." Yun Chujio smiled and started to take off her clothes. Then, she stepped into the bathtub. "Scrub-dub-dub. Please take mine and bring it back to me. If you eat mine, spit it out for me." Yun Chujio happily hummed a little song while playing with the water. The sad Supreme Emperor laid on the bed. His face turned even redder when he heard the sound of Yun Chujio in the water. Chapter 263, Could it be a sequela of the lightning strikes? Di Biming could not help but spit at himself. What was there to think about when she was just an unattractive and uninteresting black bean sprout? Even if he wanted to, he should think about what the black thing would look like when she grew up. Di Biming inexplicably recalled that Yun Chujio once said suffocate you to death while talking about her chest, and immediately blood flowed out from his nose. Yun Chujio had been staring at Di Biming, and when she saw this situation, she could not help but giggle. "Prince Charming, is that the aftermath of the lightning strike? Why is your nose bleeding all the time? Are you going to bleed to death?" Di Biming could no longer pretend to sleep, and he said angrily, "I've been taking in too much supplements recently, that's why my nose is bleeding." "What's the big deal?" Yun Chujio pouted. "Humph. No wonder you haven't been here recently. So you've been secretly eating some good stuff." After Yun Chujio said that, she felt that the sentence sounded wrong. She seemed to be a little jealous, so she quickly added, "Actually, it's okay if you don't come. I've met a fool recently whom I've cheated." Di Biming snorted. "Must be that idiot Shui Wuji. You're asking a tiger for its skin. Stay away from him from now on." Huh? How did you know? Yun Chujio asked curiously. I naturally have a way to find out. Aren't you afraid that hell kill you? Shui Wuji is famous for being temperamental and ruthless. You actually dared to trick him. Once he finds out, he wouldn't spare you. Di Baiming easily avoided Yun Chujio's question. Yun Chujio pouted and said, I have no choice. That black chicken's spiritual power is very high. I can run away from the monk but I can't run away from the temple. Naturally, I have to think of a way to fool him. Oh, by the way, what's the relationship between the two of you? Black chicken. Di Baiming was stunned at first and then laughed out loud. He overexerted and accidentally exacerbated his internal injuries, coughing for a long time before he recovered. Cough cough. Good. Black thing, that nickname is good. That idiot matches the name Black Chicken perfectly. Prince Charming, then are the two of you friends or enemies? Don't tell me you're good friends who are in a love-hate relationship. Yun Chujio's eyes flashed with a gossipy light as she asked curiously. Of course we're enemies. That idiot keeps trying to defeat me, it's simply a fool's dream. Oh right, what does good friend mean? Yun Chujio did not dare to tell the truth, so she said vaguely, good friend just means good friend. Oh no, the water is all gone. I have to hurry out and put on my clothes. Yun Chujio came out of the bathtub nonchalantly, wiped herself with a towel, and then began to slowly put on her clothes. This girl thought that since the gigolo's neck could not move, there was nothing to be afraid of. Who would have thought that after Di Baiming took the pill, his neck could rotate slightly? Di Baiming subconsciously turned his neck and, yes, dyed the pillow with blood again. Di Baiming wanted to turn his head away, but his neck could not move at this time. Coincidentally, when Yun Chujio looked up, she saw Di Baiming staring at her with a bloody nose. Yun Chujio was also stunned. Although she was quite thick-skinned, she could still be embarrassed. Yun Chujio's face was flushed red. She put on her clothes and pretended to be calm. Prince Charming, if you want to see, just say it. Why did you have to sneak a peek? Di Baiming felt that that day was the saddest day in his life. His face turned red and then white. He gritted his teeth and said, why would I sneak a peek at you? Humph. I was just looking at. Well, looking at the bathtub. Your bathtub is quite special. Chapter 264, Just You Wait. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes and smiled evilly. Prince Charming, since you like this bathtub so much, it'll help you get a closer look at it. Di Baiming suddenly had a bad feeling. Yun Chujio picked up Di Baiming and threw him into the bathtub. Cough. Cough. Black thing. Why you're rebelling? This isn't right. Just you wait. I won't forgive you. Di Baiming choked on water and gritted his teeth in anger. Di Baiming was really angry, but at that moment, he had no other way to express it other than using words. Yun Chujio leaned on the side of the bathtub and said with a smile, Prince Charming, you've misunderstood me. You were drenched in the rain earlier, so it's good to soak in the bath to get rid of the cold. Besides, don't you have a mysophobia? Your body is covered in blood and dirt. That must be uncomfortable. Di Baiming choked. What the black thing said made sense. If he did not wash up, it would indeed be uncomfortable. However, he was not stupid. He knew that Yun Chujio was deliberately messing with him. He gritted his teeth. Forget it. He may be controlled by someone then, but he would endure it first. In the future, when he has recovered, he would look for this black thing to settle scores. Yun Chujio was so smart. Even if she used her feet to think, she could guess what Di Baiming was thinking. However, as the saying goes, drink till you're drunk. Since Di Baiming could not do anything to her then, she naturally had to make good use of the rare opportunity to vent her anger. Humph. The gigolo had scared her a lot in the past. Finally, it was her time to breathe a sigh of relief for the great days to come. It was not easy. She was very proud in her heart, and her face could not help but show a little bit of pride. Seeing this, Di Biming became more and more frustrated and stopped talking. She rolled her eyes and stared at Di Biming's new hairdo. She said with a smile, "My Prince Charming, your new hairdo is very shiny. There's no need to light candles in this room anymore. With us two bald heads, there will be enough light." Tisk, tsk. My Prince Charming, I have to say that you're really good looking. You're so good looking even without your hair. My Prince Charming, why don't you keep it like that in the future? It'll save you a lot of trouble and looks good on you. When Di Biming heard Yun Chuzhou praising him so much, he could not help but feel a little smug in his heart. His anger had dissipated a little. He thought to himself to forget it. Seeing that the black thing spoke well, he reluctantly forgave her for throwing him into the bathtub. Just as he was thinking about it, he heard Yun Chuzhou say, "Oh man, the water in this bathtub is cold. Let me help you change it." Yun Chuzhou took out a new bathtub as she spoke. Then, she picked up a certain someone and threw him into the new bathtub. The certain someone could not help but choke on a few mouthfuls of water. He immediately threw his previous thoughts to the back of his mind. This black thing really deserved to be taught a lesson. After changing the water a few times, Yun Chuzhou finally showed mercy and pulled Di Biming out of the bathtub. She still had some integrity. She did not help Di Biming change his clothes. Instead, she used her spiritual power to help him dry his clothes. Of course, this fellow was actually afraid of provoking Di Biming. It would be bad if he vomited blood again. Even so, he was still a little uncomfortable as his ears were always red. Black Thing Jiao was also a little uncomfortable. When she was drying her clothes, she started to brag about how she had tricked Xue Wuji. Although Di Biming did not want to listen to that Xue Wuji nonsense, he cooperated and chatted with Yun Chuzhou in order to divert his attention. Chapter 265, My life will be different from now on. Yun Chuzhou tidied up the bed before placing Di Biming on the outer side of the bed. She straightened out the bed and climbed to the inner corner. Di Biming saw that she was mumbling something and frowned. "Black Thing, what are you talking about? Are you secretly scolding me?" Yun Chuzhou pouted and thought to herself, so what if I'm scolding you? You're now a paper tiger. You can't do anything to me. However, when she thought of what happened during the day, she turned around and looked at Di Biming with bright eyes. "Prince Charming, how can I do such an ungrateful thing? Oh right, why did you decide to save me?" Di Biming raised his eyebrows. "I've mentioned before that your blood is useful to me. Hasn't it been a year? Your illness should have been cleared, right? I don't think you need my blood anymore." Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Di Biming snorted awkwardly. "Although the poison has been cleared, your blood is very beneficial to me. Naturally, I can't bear to let such a precious spiritual herb like you die." "Oh, so that's how it is. I thought you liked me. Thank goodness. If you really liked me, I'd still." Yun Chuzhou did not complete her sentence. Instead, she laid back on the bed disappointedly and did not speak anymore. When Di Biming saw that Yun Chuzhou did not speak anymore, he felt extremely uncomfortable. What did the black thing want to say next? In the end, Di Biming could not help but cough dryly and said, "You'd still, what?" Yun Chuzhou said gloomily, "I'm sleeping." Di Biming choked and snorted coldly. "If you don't want to say it, then don't say it. Stop daydreaming. Why would I like you?" "Humph." Yun Chuzhou did not say anything. She cursed in her heart. What an annoying gigolo. If you don't like me, then don't. What's the big deal? If it wasn't for the fact that you worked so hard to save me, I wouldn't have bothered to talk to you. A gigolo like you begging me on your knees. Actually, I can still consider it. Seeing that Yun Chujio did not speak, Di Biming felt a little regretful in his heart. However, since he had already said it, he naturally did not have the reason to take it back. He added awkwardly, actually, you've become a lot fairer now. Ever since Yun Chujio came back, she had not looked at herself in the mirror. When she heard Di Biming say that, she immediately climbed down from the bed, lit a candle, and ran in front of the mirror to take a look. Oh my, who is this little beauty in the mirror? Mirror, mirror, quickly tell me. Who is the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect? Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio is the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect. Yun Chujio pinched her throat and answered herself. She usually never asked others for help when she could do things on her own. Therefore, she did not feel embarrassed at all even when she was playing two roles. The corner of Di Biming's eyes twitched slightly. Was the black thing going crazy? Yun Chujio wiggled in front of the mirror and praised herself a bunch before returning to the bed. Prince Charming, let me tell you. It's useless even if you regret saying that you like me now. The current me is different from the past. I was almost mesmerized by my own beauty. In the future, those who pursue me will probably line up from Spirit Radiance sect all the way to Yi City. I, Yun Chujio, now have both beauty and spiritual power. La la la, my life will be different from now on. Yun Chujio said proudly. Chapter 266, Who are you trying to scare, You're just slightly better and suddenly you become most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect. How shameless. I've never seen someone as thick-skinned as you. Di Biming's heart ached when he thought of other men approaching Yun Chujio. So what if I'm thick-skinned? What does it have to do with you? From now on, you'll be the most beautiful person in Spirit Radiance sect. You. Di Biming was so angry that he almost fainted. He said angrily, Black thing, in the future, I'll kill all the men who approaches you. I'll see who dares to come near you. Then I'll go and look for Brother Wuji. Brother Wuji isn't afraid of you. Brother Wuji was quite generous with me, and he's better looking than you. Yun Chujio said proudly. Good. Good. I knew that the relationship between you and that red-robed fool was not that simple. Black thing, it's best if you kill me now. Otherwise, when I'm better, I'll definitely kill you and that red-robed fool with my own hands. Di Biming's eyes were red and he was obviously extremely angry. Yun Chujio shrugged her shoulders. TSK, who are you trying to scare? If you have the ability, then hurry up and get better. Otherwise, when you're done, Brother Wuji and I will have long been together. When Di Biming thought of Xue Wuji hugging Yun Chujio, he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The black thing is mine. Anyone who dares to snatch her from me will die. If Xue Wuji was in front of him right now, he would probably want to slap him to death to vent his anger. When Yun Chujio saw that Di Biming was so angry that his facial features were almost deformed, she felt a trace of guilt in her heart. The gigolo was a wounded man, and he was injured because he saved her. Was it not a little too much for her to say that? Just as Yun Chujio was about to say something to ease the tension, Di Biming gritted his teeth and said, Black thing, do you think that I'm angry because I care about you? In fact, I just don't like my things being touched by others. There are many women who like this venerable self, and there are countless women who are more beautiful than you. I've not visited in such a long time because I went back to pick myself a concubine. The women in Tianyuan continent are much more outstanding than you. They're both beautiful and virtuous. When they heard that I was going to pick my concubines, all of them cried and begged me, Di Baiming's words stopped abruptly because he was kicked off the bed by Yun Chuzhou. Although a certain supreme being did not fall or got hurt, he was kicked off the bed by someone. That really hurt his self-esteem. However, there was nothing he could do. One could imagine the anger and grievance in his heart. Yun Chuzhou angrily spread a few quilts on the ground and then put Di Baiming on it. "Shut up. Otherwise, I'll sew your mouth shut with a needle and thread." "Black thing, how dare you!" Di Baiming hated the fact that there was nothing he could do. Otherwise, he would definitely strangle that black thing to death. Humph. I have to say it. Some of those women were fat and some were skinny. They come in all sizes. But one thing's for sure, they are much stronger than your black bean sprout, HNNGG. HNGGG, Di Baiming could not continue because in a moment of desperation, Yun Chuzhou had used her mouth to block Di Baiming's mouth. Both of them were stunned. Yun Chuzhou felt so stupid. Di Baiming seemed to have opened the door to a new world. For a moment, the temperature in the room seemed to have risen by a few degrees. After a while, Yun Chuzhou returned to her bed dejectedly and covered her head with the blanket. "Damn, that was so embarrassing. I actually forced myself to kiss a gigolo." Chapter 267, I am thick-skinned. Di Baiming, who was on the ground, was also stunned. It was a really strange feeling. For a moment, the room was quiet. Neither of them spoke. Cough. Cough. Don't think too much. I just wanted to stop you from talking. Yun Chuzhou stuck her head out from under the blanket and said in a slightly panicked manner. Di Baiming snorted coldly. Humph. I was just thirsty. After such a long time, you didn't even feed me a mouthful of water. How clumsy. Didn't you drink a few mouthfuls of bath water just now? Yun Chuzhou thought of Di Baiming's miserable appearance and giggled happily. Di Baiming's face stiffened and he gritted his teeth. Go ahead and be cocky now, black thing. When I recover, we'll see how I'll deal with you. Yun Chuzhou made a face. We have to live in the moment and enjoy it while it lasts. Anyway, you can't do anything to me now. I'm warning you, you better behave yourself, or ill. Yun Chuzhou's eyes lit up when she said this. This idea was not bad. If the gigolo left in the future and she ran out of money, she might be able to make a small fortune by selling her paintings. The more Yun Chuzhou thought about it, the more she felt that the idea was pretty good. She made up her mind then. Di Baiming thought that Yun Chuzhou was just saying it and did not take it to heart. The next morning, Yun Chuzhou stretched her body, got off the bed, and jumped to Di Baiming's side. She said with a smile, "Good morning, Prince Charming." Di Baiming opened his eyes weakly and did not speak. Yun Chuzhou was stunned. She reached out and touched Di Baiming's forehead. It was boiling hot. Only then did Yun Chuzhou realize that Di Baiming was lying on the ground pitifully last night. He did not even have a blanket on him. Yun Chuzhou felt a little guilty. It seemed that she had gone too far to treat the wounded like this. Prince Charming, I'm so sorry. Come on, just sweat it out. Yun Chuzhou carried Di Baiming to the bed and then covered Di Baiming with layers of blanket. Di Baiming felt that he would be tortured to death by Yun Chuzhou sooner or later. Are you covering me with quilt or trying to bury me alive? Di Baiming exerted all his strength and shouted, "Black thing. Cough cough. Do you want to suffocate me to death?" Yun Chuzhou realized that she was in such a hurry that she had covered Di Baiming's head as well. She quickly saved Di Baiming's head from the blankets. I'm sorry. I don't have any experience, okay? Once you get sick a few more times in the future, then I'll have more experience. Yun Chuzhou said with a dry smile. Di Baiming felt his vision go black. He gritted his teeth and said, are you cursing me to get sick frequently in the future? Yun Chujio smiled widely and used her hand to support Di Biming's chin. Prince Charming, you'd better not provoke me this time. Di Biming's face turned red. Stop. You have no sense of shame. You're shameless. Yun Chujio smiled lecherously. I am thick-skinned, and I am shameless. What can you do about it? Yun Chujio bent down and was about to walk over. Thump. 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 Di Biming's heart started beating faster. Chapter 268, The seeds of love seemed to have sprouted. Di Biming waited for a long time, but Yun Chujio's lips did not fall. He opened his eyes and saw Yun Chujio hugging her shoulders and looking at him with a wicked smile. Prince Charming, what's with your squinted eyes? Do you think it's a pity that I didn't kiss you? Di Biming was so angry that he was seeing stars. His face flushed red before turning pale. Black thing, you. You, am thick-skinned and I don't know shame. Am shameless, am I not? Am a female hoodlum and a little pervert. Am warning you. You better listen to me, or else. Humph, I'll do anything. Yun Chujio thought to herself that since she had already touched and kissed him, why should she feel wronged? Gigolo, from now on, I'll be the master. The pitiful lord had never seen such a thick-skinned girl. It was as though his worldview had been shifted. Besides being angry, he also felt that the black thing was really baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It was quite interesting. The pitiful emperor felt that he had most likely been struck dumb by lightning. Although Yun Chujio's words were fierce, she still used warm water to gently wipe Di Biming's face. She also fiercely forced Di Biming to get a sumptuous breakfast from his storage ring and fed it to him. Di Biming was already severely injured. With the addition of the cold, he finally fell into a deep sleep after all that. Yun Chujio sat by the bed and looked at Di Biming's handsome face. She was a little lost in thought. Yun Chujio recalled what happened the day before. When she was at her most helpless and desperate moment, the gigolo appeared as a protector. He would willingly be struck to death to protect her. Yun Chujio admitted that she was moved. Although she had never been in a relationship and did not know what love was, at that moment, Yun Chujio felt that the seed of love seemed to have sprouted. That was why she asked Di Biming half-truthfully why he would save her. That was why when she heard Di Biming say that, she, who had always been fearless, felt a little disappointed. That was why she deliberately mentioned the red-robed pervert to anger Di Biming. That was why after their fight, her lips and tongue became entangled with Di Biming's. Yun Chujio was not a pretentious person. Since that's the case, then she should let nature take its course. After all, she was still young. If the gigolo had the patience to wait for her to grow up, she would give him a chance. At least. Cough. Cough. This gigolo's figure was quite attractive. After Yun Chujio figured out her thoughts, she secretly kissed Di Biming's face. TSK, how could this gigolo's skin be so nice? However, why was it still so hot? It was not burnt, was it? Yun Chujio thought for a moment and took out a dagger. She cut her finger and dripped the blood into Di Biming's mouth. After a while, Di Biming's face gradually returned to normal and his forehead was not hot anymore. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh at herself. Her blood really had a miraculous effect on the gigolo. Yun Chujio took out a scarf and wrapped it around her head, leaving two tails of excess cloth behind her head as she hopped out of the house. Miss Jiu, how is our honored lord? An Feng and an Yin saw Yun Chujio coming out and quickly went up to her. Yun Chujio immediately smiled and bent her back when she saw the two of them. The two of them each took a piece of cloth and wrapped it around their heads. Just like Yun Chujio, they also left two small tails behind them. Ha! Do you too have to follow me like this? Oh my god, it's so funny. Yun Chujio was so happy that she almost rolled on the floor laughing. Anfeng and Anein's eyes twitched violently. Miss Jo, how did we become like this? It was because we saved you. How could you laugh at us so shamelessly? You're too shameless. Chapter 269, As expected of the man that I, Yun Chujio, have taken a fancy to. Yun Chujio finally stopped laughing and said, His Highness was too tired yesterday. He's catching up on his sleep now. I'm going out for a while. You guys take good care of the house. Yun Chujio did not want Anfeng and Anein to know that her carelessness had caused Di Biming to catch a cold. However, she did not know that her words had caused Anfeng to misunderstand. After Yun Chujio left, Anfeng had a gossipy look on his face. Didn't our esteemed lord lose control of hands and feet yesterday? Why is he so tired? Anein ignored him, thinking that sooner or later, this annoying fellow would be taught a lesson by their esteemed lord. Yun Chujio, who was jumping toward the meeting hall, sneezed violently. She thought whether it could be that the gigolo had woken up and was talking about her. They had only been apart for a short while, and he was already thinking about her. She was so charming. Yun Chujio shamelessly fantasized for a while before she finally hopped into the meeting hall. In the meeting hall, Master Xianyuan and the others were like the Amma rocks. 1. They were stretching their necks to look outside when they finally saw Yun Chujio hopping over. When everyone saw Yun Chujio's appearance, they were also stunned. Last night, the wind was high and the sky was dark. In addition, Yun Chujio's face was dirty, so they did not pay too much attention to her. Now that they saw her, they were all extremely surprised. As expected, her fair skin covered her 100 other flaws. Although the little girl's skin had only turned fairer, she felt that her entire person had become much more beautiful. Little girl, quickly tell me. How did you escape those heavenly punishments yesterday? Elder Chu went to Yun Chujio and asked curiously. Heavenly punishments? Yun Chujio was not aware of the heavenly root spirit theory. In the principle of saying less and making fewer mistakes, and not moving if the enemy did not move, she tried to speak as little as possible. Oh right. You still don't know about this. Let me tell you then. You have a rare heavenly lightning root spirit. Those purple heavenly lightning bolts were meant to kill you by heavenly tribulation. Elder Chu told her everything. Yun Chujio's heart skipped a beat. That was what it was. No wonder those heavenly purple lightning bolts were always chasing after her. It was the heavenly law that wanted her dead. Regardless of whether it was heavenly law or reality, my life is in my hands, not the heavens. No way you'll take my life. Little girl, tell me quickly. How did you survive the lightning bolts for 10 hours? Elder Chu asked again when he saw Yun Chujio in a daze. Yun Chujio giggled. Of course, I had to run quickly so that they couldn't catch up to me. But I was soon knocked out by the lightning bolts. I don't know what happened after that. When I woke up, I saw my savior spit out a mouthful of blood. Then, he instructed me to take care of him. After that, I flew out on the chopping board. Everyone felt that what Yun Chujio said made sense, but they still felt something amiss. Master Xianyuan asked again, and Yun Chujio said the same thing. Master Xianyuan could only ask, has your savior woken up? Can we meet him? The reason why Master Xianyuan was so polite was that first, that person had saved Yun Chujio, and second, that person's spiritual power was very high, so he naturally had to treat him politely. Yun Chujio sighed. He had a high fever last night, and he only fell asleep this morning. Let's wait for him to wake up. My savior suffered such serious injuries in order to save me, and he also caught a cold. I really feel bad about this. I wonder if any of you have anything nourishing in your possession. I'll take it to nourish him. Yun Chuzhou spoke with sincerity and even shed a few tears. Master Xianyuan and the others naturally would not reject her. They all took out what they had and gave it to Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou laughed sinisterly in her heart as she made a small fortune. Gigolo, oh Gigolo, you're indeed the man that I, Yun Chuzhou, have set my eyes on. You can make money for me just by lying down. Chapter 270, made everyone laugh. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes and continued shamelessly, well, Master Xianyuan, there are so many things that I can't possibly carry them in my hands. Please give me another storage ring. The storage bag given by the sect is being used by my fourth brother. Master Xianyuan did not dislike Yun Chuzhou's insatiable greed. Instead, he asked in surprise, can you release your spiritual power? You're already at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. Yes, I can release my spiritual power. Yun Chuzhou answered vaguely. She thought to herself, I'm not deliberately hiding it. I'm afraid that telling you I'm at the 8th level of the spirit enhancement realm will scare you. Elder Shao frowned. Yun Chuzhou, are you lying? There's no spiritual power fluctuation on your body. How could you be at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm? Everyone looked at Yun Chuzhou suspiciously. Even if some mighty figures could lower their cultivation level or use some spirit tools to hide their cultivation level, no one had ever been able to completely hide the spiritual energy on their body. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Hearing is fictitious, seeing is believing. Everyone was stunned. What did she mean? Crack. Everyone was shocked. Yun Chuzhou raised her right hand, and a bolt of lightning struck an empty chair. The chair shattered into two. Crack. Yun Chuzhou struck another bolt of lightning, and the table beside her was also split into two. She frowned. After the strike, there was a burning smell. This was not good. If she did anything bad in the future, would everyone not suspect that she was the one who did it? However, she only used 50% of her strength this time. When there was no one around, she would test it again and try to make sure that it did not smell burnt. Yun Chuzhou had a few thoughts in her mind. Then, she realized that the meeting hall was completely silent. Everyone had a dumbfounded look on their faces. Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly, well, I've made a fool of myself. I've only learned how to strike. If I don't do it well, it'll definitely improve next time. Elder Chu jumped up with a roar. Little girl. Good strike. Good strike. Oh my God, this heavenly root spirit is indeed different. It really opened my eyes. The rest of the people also seemed to have woken up from a dream and sighed one after another. They looked at Yun Chuzhou as if they were looking at a peerless treasure. Is this move of mine very powerful? I see that other people's wind blades and fireballs are about equally as powerful. Yun Chuzhou asked weakly, but in her heart, she thought, could it be that I've been exposed? It shouldn't be, I've clearly only used 50% of my strength. Ha! Ha! Our Spirit Radiance sect is about to produce a peerless genius. Little girl, although the power of your lightning strike is almost the same as those of the same level, this is a lightning strike. Regardless of whether it's a demon beast or a cultivator, how many of them aren't afraid of lightning strikes? Most importantly, all cultivators need to form seals before they can cast spells, and they also need to pause for a moment before they can cast spells a second time. However, as the spiritual power becomes more profound, the duration of forming seals and pausing changes. You just cast your spells 2 times in a row without any pause. Elder Chu was so excited that he was dancing with joy. He had completely forgotten how he called Yun Chuzhou unimportant during the entry test. Yun Chuzhou had an epiphany. It turned out that other people were using rifles and guns, but she was using a machine, a trap, and a gun. It seemed to be quite awesome. When other people were loading bullets, she could take advantage of the situation. Wow, just thinking about it was very satisfying, right? But, why is there no spiritual fluctuation on my body? Yun Chujio asked in puzzlement. Although it was good to pretend to be a pig to eat a tiger, sometimes it was quite troublesome to hide the truth. Chapter 271, Was the time to be proud? Everyone was also puzzled. Yun Chujia's situation was simply unheard of. Finally, Elder Chu took out a ring from his storage ring and handed it to Yun Chujio. This is a hidden spirit ring. It can hide one's true cultivation level and lower the spiritual power of the wearer. Try injecting your spiritual power and spiritual sense into it to see if it has any effect. Yun Chujio was such a shrewd person. It did not matter if it worked or not. If it was given to me, it would be mine. I'll refine it first. Thus, as if she did not hear Elder Chu's words, she directly refined the hidden spirit ring with a drop of blood. Elder Chu's eyes twitched and his beard almost stood on its ends in anger. I just asked you to try it. I'm not giving it to you just like that. Is it good for you to take other people's property like this? Master Xianyuan cursed silently at the side. Old Chu, oh old Chu, you're still young. You'll only learn your lesson after being tricked by this little girl a few times. After Yun Chujio refined the hidden spirit ring, she began adjusting her spiritual power to the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. Hey! Look! It's effective. Yun Chujia's spiritual power is now at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. That's right. It seems like this hidden spirit ring is effective on Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio was very satisfied with the function of the hidden spirit ring. It was simply a great tool to play the pig to eat the tiger. In the future, she would use it to trick people. What Yun Chujio did not know was that if an ordinary person wore the hidden spirit ring, only those who had lower spiritual power than the wearer would be deceived. If the other party had higher spiritual power than the wearer, it would have no effect. However, Yun Chujio was a weirdo. Even Master Xianyuan and the others could not see Yun Chujia's true spiritual power level at all. Yun Chujio tried to adjust her spiritual power level to level 3, 2, and even level 1, it worked every time. She sincerely thanked Elder Chu. Elder Chu was still a little unhappy at first, but after Yun Chujio said a few flattering words, he was beaming with joy. He immediately felt that the hidden spirit ring of his existed for Yun Chujio. It was simply a waste for it to stay with him. Master Xianyuan was watching the show from the side. Yun Chujio came up to him and said with a smile, Master Xianyuan, where is the storage ring that you promised me? The corner of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched slightly. He painfully took out a storage ring and gave it to Yun Chujio. After Yun Chujio refined the ring, she put all the items of nourishment she received into the storage ring and left with a smile. Wait! Yun Chujio, there'll be a new disciple trial in 3 days. Will you stay to take care of your benefactor, or will you participate in the trial? Master Xianyuan said in a deep voice. Yun Chujio had really forgotten about the trial. Whether she could become little ancestor Yun would depend on this trial. However, the gigolo was seriously injured from saving her. If she abandoned him, it would seem a little unrighteous. Master Xianyuan saw that Yun Chujio was hesitating, so he said, you can think about it again. Once you've thought it through, come find me. Although everyone had high hopes for Yun Chujia's heavenly root spirit, they were still reluctant to let this little girl become little ancestor Yun, who had an extremely high seniority. They hoped that Yun Chujio would take the initiative to give up this opportunity, so they all kept quiet. Yun Chujio naturally understood their thoughts and nodded. Sect leader, I'll go back and think about it. If I make a decision, I'll look for you again. Yun Chujio walked out of the meeting hall and rolled her eyes. It was finally time for me, Yun Chujio, to be proud. Thus, she turned the rolling pin into a chopping board and flew up while standing on it. She was afraid that the others would not notice her, so she took the scarlet dawn silk that she had scanned from Du Gai of Heavenly Gates sect and swiped it around. Chapter 272, The deity is very pleased. The disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect quickly discovered the odd Yun Chujio flying in the sky. Holy shit! What the hell is flying in the sky? Ah, Yun Chujio. It's that little fire girl, Yun Chujio. Why do I feel that she's not quite the same as before? Ah, she's fairer. A lot fairer. Oh my god, how did she suddenly go from a useless person who can't cultivate to a 4th level spirit enhancement cultivator? That's not right. Didn't they say that only spirit cultivators can ride swords? How did she manage to do that? Fuck. Is that a chopping board under her feet? Has the chopping board in the Middle Peaks kitchen become a spirit? Yun Chujio was very satisfied to see the dumbfounded expressions on everyone's faces. She directed the rolling pin to fly around the entire Spirit Radiance sect. She even went to the Spirit Beast Garden on the West Peak on purpose. Hey old livestock friends. Did you guys cultivate diligently? Yun Chujio circled the mighty elephant's nest a few times, then waved her hands. The mighty elephants recognized Yun Chujio. When they saw that it was Yun Chujio who they had not seen them for a few days, who not only had spirit energy but was also able to control objects and fly, they were all greatly encouraged. Even a little girl like her was able to turn things around. It looked like the little girl was right. They had to be prepared beasts. After Yun Chujio and a mighty elephants established a relationship, she went out and showed off for a while before flying back to the dormitory. My dear Prince Charming, are you feeling better? Did you miss me? Yun Chujio jumped to the side of the bed and touched Di Baiming's forehead. Perhaps it was because of her blood, but Di Baiming's fever had subsided and he was in a better state. Where did you go to be so cocky? Di Baiming raised his eyebrows. TSK. Prince Charming, how can you say that? What do you mean by cocky? I'm just proud, okay? It's not easy for me to turn over a new leaf. Naturally, I have to announce it to the world. Hee hee. Yun Chujio felt that she was quite talented. The corner of Di Baiming's eyes twitched slightly. You said a lot of things, but in conclusion, you're still cocky. Yun Chujio tugged at the corner of her clothes shyly. My idol, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you, a wounded man, sleep on the ground yesterday. I didn't even cover you with a blanket. As the saying goes, if you admit your mistakes, then you're a good person. I promise I won't mistreat you anymore. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio looked a little shy, so he could not help but think of last night's intimacy. His face also turned slightly red, and he coughed dryly. It's okay. I'm fine now. Seeing that Di Baiming was so easy to talk to, Yun Chujio immediately wanted to do something to compensate him, so she said, Prince Charming, you've been lying on the bed all this time. Are you bored? I'll take you outside to breathe some fresh air. Yun Chujio did not wait for Di Baiming's approval. She helped Di Baiming put on his coat and carried him out of the house. Anfeng, hurry up and get a reclining chair over. His Highness wants to bask in the sun. Anfeng saw his esteemed self being carried out effortlessly by Yun Chujio. The corners of his eyes twitched slightly. This ninth miss was really fierce. It seemed that his esteemed self would be at her mercy in the future. Yun Chujio placed Di Baiming on the reclining chair and said in a virtuous manner, Prince Charming, if you don't exercise, your muscles will atrophy. Let me massage you. Di Baiming felt warm in his heart. Although the black thing was a little out of tune, she was still sincere to him. Yes, he was very pleased. Yun Chujio rubbed her hands and laughed dryly, Prince Charming, let's settle the scores. My fee is still the same as before. I'll charge you 2,000 spirit stones for 15 minutes. If you get the 15 minutes, I'll give you a 20% discount. Di Biming was speechless. Chapter 273, Come Out, Shui Wuji. The magnificent thought bubbles that filled Di Biming's head was immediately punctured by Yun Chujia's words. An Feng and an Yin, who were beside him, silently retreated. Miss Jiu, oh Miss Jiu. You're breaking ground above Tai Sui head and plucking the fur on a tiger's buttocks. 1. Our Lord would lay down his life for you. You're gonna charge him for a little massage. And you're giving a 20% discount? Are you trying to court death? Our esteemed Lord will definitely go crazy. Di Biming's face turned green and white, and then vice versa. In the end, he smiled and said, Deal. An Feng and an Yin were shocked. Has our esteemed Lord been struck dumb by lightning? Not only did he agree, he actually smiled. What's wrong with him? Yun Chujio was also stunned. She thought that the gigolo would definitely scold her for being shameless or something, but she did not expect him to agree so readily. Yun Chujio immediately smiled like a successful little fox and started massaging Di Biming. Di Biming closed his eyes and basked in the sun while enjoying Yun Chujio's attentive service. In his heart, he was thinking about how to move back to the city. He could not move his hands and feet now. Even if he retaliated, he would be easily restrained by the black thing. I will endure. Black thing, just you wait. It's not too late for this venerable self to get revenge. Yun Chujio did not know what Di Biming was thinking. She was like a hard-working bee, happily massaging Di Biming. After massaging him for a while, Yun Chujio touched her stomach and said sneakily, Prince Charming, what shall we have for lunch? Di Biming's eyes flashed. I've brought a lot of new dishes this time, but what? Yun Chujio felt that she could not control her saliva and asked impatiently. Di Biming curled the corner of his mouth. However, the price is naturally higher. I'm afraid that you can't afford it. Yun Chujio was stunned and cursed in her heart. What a stingy gigolo. I asked you for money because I'm poor. You're already so rich, but still scheme to gain what little money I have. How detestable. Yun Chujio pouted and said, HMPH. Brother Wuji wouldn't ask me for money. Why are you so stingy? Besides, I've helped you wipe your face, fed you, and carried you out. I haven't asked you for money yet. Di Biming's face darkened. Black thing, I'm warning you, stay away from that red-robed fool in the future. Otherwise, I won't forgive you. Yun Chujio pouted. But Brother Black Chicken gave me delicious food, a ring, and even spirit stones. Di Biming's eyes flickered, and then he said, Black thing, I was just teasing you. It's just some food, isn't it? I have plenty. Di Biming took out several plates of dishes from his storage ring, which were in sorts of colors, fragrance, and taste. There were even a few plates of exquisite pastries, which emitted a charming sweet fragrance. Yun Chujio's eyes lit up and her eyes instantly turned into the shape of a peach heart. She said obsequiously, Prince Charming, I was just joking just now. That pervert in red is obviously not a good guy. Even if he gave me a mountain of gold and silver, I wouldn't even bother to look at him. Prince Charming, he can't even be compared to a strand of your hair. Tui. How could his black chicken head be compared to the wise and divine Prince Charming? You're the bright moon in the sky, and he's a weak little candle. You're the white snow at the top of the mountain, and he's the dung on the ground. The corners of Di Biming's mouth curled up, and then he said indifferently, Shui Wuji, you've heard enough. Don't hide any more. Come out. Chapter 274, Little Sister Jiu was really humorous. Shui Wuji. Yun Chujio was shocked. She unconsciously got in front of Di Biming and blocked him. The gigolo's body was stiff all over. Would it not be easy for the red-clothed pervert to kill the gigolo? Di Baiming's eyes warmed as he said indifferently, "Black thing, get out of the way." Shui Wuji is a well-known figure in the Tianyuan continent. He's not going to take advantage of the situation. Ha! Di Baiming, you finally said something human. Of course, I won't kick you when you're down. Besides, I wouldn't do that in front of little sister Jiu. Shui Wuji appeared and said. He had an evil smile on his face, but his hands were tightly clenched under his sleeves. Very well, Yun Chujiu. You actually dared to trick me. Di Baiming's unexpressive face was the bright moon in the sky and the weak little candle. Di Baiming was the white snow at the peak of the mountain and the dirt on the ground. So everything about him being the enemy and Di Baiming coveting her beauty were all made up. They were all used to deceive me. Very good, Yun Chujiu, just you wait. In order to not lose face in front of Di Baiming, Shui Wuji simply swallowed his words. He clearly wanted to strangle Yun Chujiu to death, but he talked and laughed as if nothing had happened. Shadow Agent Hua Hua also appeared. He cursed in his heart, our young master has been played by this little girl. I've told you, how can the person that Di Baiming has his eyes on be so simple? Our young master's narcissism should be changed. Although Shui Wuji said it to Di Baiming, his eyes were fixed on Yun Chujiu. If eyes could kill, Yun Chujiu would have died hundreds of times. If an ordinary person was caught red-handed, they would definitely feel awkward or guilty. However, Yun Chujiu was obviously not an ordinary person. This fellow smiled brightly. Brother Wuji, you're here. Did you bring me spirit stones again? Everyone was dumbfounded. Yun Chujiu's shamelessness was unrivaled. Shui Wuji gritted his teeth. Little sister Jiu, didn't you say that you wouldn't even be interested if I gave you mountains of gold and silver? Yun Chujiu said confidently, that's right. How could I like such common things like gold and silver? I like shiny spirit stones. Everyone was speechless. Shui Wuji was stunned for a moment before he laughed out loud. Little sister Jiu is really witty. No wonder even Di Baiming, who is famous for being queer, fell for you. Di Baiming snorted coldly, don't spout nonsense. I'm just self-disciplined, unlike some people who go fooling around. I heard that you already have dozens of illegitimate children. Shui Wuji was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Di Baiming. You're spouting nonsense. You actually slandered me in front of little sister Jiu. What are your intentions, you gay man? I'm just speaking the truth. Who doesn't know that you're reckless? If there's a woman that you like, then go back to the palace with her. Although Di Baiming's limbs were stiff, his aura actually faintly suppressed Shui Wuji. Shui Wuji was so angry that he laughed. His eyes turned as red as blood. Di Baiming, although I don't like to take advantage of others' misfortune, it's fun to do it once in a while. I'll kill you today. Anfeng and Ain quickly protected Di Baiming and Yun Chujiu. They were on alert. Di Baiming laughed out loud without any signs of nervousness. Shui Wuji, although I'm badly injured, I'm strong enough to topple you before I die. You can try. Chapter 275, I do not understand. Shui Wuji looked at Di Baiming suspiciously. Could there be a trap? The day before, Spirit Radiance sect was bombarded with thunder. What exactly happened? Why did Di Baiming get such a serious injury? Should he make a move or not? Ah, it's already noon. Are you guys hungry? Let's have lunch together. I'm starving. Yun Chujiu did not seem to notice the imminent crisis. She sat down casually on the stone bench and looked at the delicious food on the table with drooling eyes. Shui Wuji had a few thoughts in his mind and then smiled wickedly. I'm just joking. Little sister Jiu is right. The world is big, and eating is the most important. Eating is more important. Yun Chuzhou giggled. Brother Wuji, come here. Don't be shy, eat more. Di Baiming coughed dryly and glared at Yun Chuzhou unhappily. Yun Chuzhou cursed in her heart, Gigolo, I'm just doing this all for you. No matter how powerful you are, you can't move your hands and feet now. If you fight, you'll definitely be at a disadvantage. Black thing, I'm hungry. Di Baiming looked at Yun Chuzhou and Xue Wuji chatting happily, and he could not help but get angry. Yun Chuzhou quickly picked up a piece of meat and fed Di Baiming. Then, she continued to chat with Xue Wuji. Black thing, a piece of meat isn't enough to fill the mouth. Continue. Di Baiming said with a dark face. Yun Chuzhou could only continue to feed Di Baiming. Naturally, she had no time to talk to Xue Wuji. Xue Wuji's mind was not on the food. He sneered, Di Baiming, little sister Jiu is as beautiful as a flower now, but you're addressing her as black thing. How rude. That's right. That's right. How am I very dark now? You should call me little beauty, little fairy, little baby, little sweetheart, Yun Chuzhou echoed from the side. Cough. Cough. Black thing, shut up. Di Baiming almost spat out the food that he had just eaten. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. What a boring old man. Xue Wuji was so happy that there was a rift between the two of them, he started to fan the flames. Di Baiming, do you think little sister Jiu is your subordinate? You even ordered her to shut up. This is too much. Little sister Jiu, you don't have to be afraid of him. In the future, you have a big brother to support you. If he bullies you, I will help you. Di Baiming's eyes were about to spit fire as he glared fiercely at Xue Wuji. Xue Wuji was fearless as he continued, little sister Jiu, you are still young and don't understand some things. If you want to marry someone, you have to marry someone who treats you well. This guy always orders you around and enslaves you. How can he be your lover? If there's no comparison, you can't discriminate between good and bad. You can't sabotage yourself. You have to choose a few more people to compare with. For example, I, your brother, not only look better than this expressionless man, but I'm also generous to you. What do you think? Think about it. After Xue Wuji finished speaking, he looked at Yun Chuzhou with anticipation. Di Baiming's eyes were also fixed on Yun Chuzhou. He had the intention of strangling Yun Chuzhou if she dared to agree. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes and said, Brother Wuji, I'm still young. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't understand. Xue Wuji almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He had been talking for such a long time. Was he playing the lute to a cow? He was so angry. If it were any other woman, she would have thrown herself into his arms long ago. What an unromantic girl. Di Baiming was very satisfied. Although the black thing was a little greedy and lecherous, it still had a clear stance on the important things. Not bad. However, Brother Wuji, what you said makes sense. Anyway, I'm still young. I can take my time picking out a husband. It's hard to find a three-legged toad, but there are plenty of two-legged people. Yun Chuzhou said casually. Chapter 276, Love and Kill. Di Baiming felt his honor hurt a little. Black thing, what do you mean you still want to slowly pick? What are you still picking? You've already seen my body. You are already with me, yet you still want to pick others. You're really courting death. Yun Chuzhou was already immune to Di Baiming's knife-like gaze and continued to eat happily. When Xue Wuji saw Di Baiming's ugly expression, he calmed down a little and said with a smile, Little sister Jiu, did your hair get struck by lightning? Exactly what happened yesterday. Yun Chuzhou giggled. What about it? Are you thinking that our new hairdo is very shiny? Let me tell you, at night, we don't even need to light candles in the house. Our bald heads lights up the room. The corner of Shui Wuji's mouth twitched. You really make the best use of everything, little sister Jiu. How did you guys become bald? Didn't you already mention why? It was struck by lightning. Yesterday, I went to the mountain to pick mushrooms. God had a stroke and started to strike lightning at us. I'm very timid. Although I have a thunder root spirit, I'm also afraid of being struck by lightning. Fortunately, my Prince Charming bravely appeared and saved me. Unfortunately, I was unlucky enough to be struck by lightning a few times and ended up like this. Yun Chujio spewed nonsense with a serious face. An Feng and an Yin almost laughed out loud. The two of them were afraid of being discovered by Shui Wuji, so they quickly suppressed their laughter. Miss Jiu is too good at making up stories. Picking mushrooms? Are you kidding me? You. Timid? Damn, I'm afraid that even if we add our courage together, we won't be as brave as you. Are you still afraid of being struck by lightning? You weren't even struck to death by lightning after 10 hours. Aren't you guilty of saying that? Shui Wuji saw Yun Chujia's serious face and Di Baiming's expressionless face, so he believed her. However, the lightning strike yesterday lasted 10 hours, and that was really strange. Could it be that some strange treasure appeared in Spirit Radiance Sex Mountains? It should not be. Even in the Tianyuan continent, there was no treasure that could attract lightning strikes for 10 hours. Shui Wuji could not figure it out, so he temporarily put the matter aside and continued to chat and laugh with Yun Chujio. It had to be said that Shui Wuji was indeed better at pleasing girls compared to Di Baiming. Soon enough, Yun Chujio was giggling happily. Di Baiming was so angry that he gritted his teeth. Stop laughing. It's so unpleasant to hear. Little sister Jiu, don't listen to him. Your laughter is like a silver bell, it's very pleasant to hear. Little sister Jiu, some people are villains who beg for gratitude after retribution. You can't tolerate him just because he saved you. Shui Wuji continued to provoke him. He was simply enjoying himself, seeing Di Baiming's face getting darker and darker. He felt a sense of accomplishment for stepping into Di Baiming's territory. As expected, Di Baiming's expression was extremely unsightly. Shui Wuji, you've had enough. Shouldn't you scram? Di Baiming, this isn't your territory. This is Spirit Radiance Sect, and its little ninth sister's courtyard. I can stay here as long as I want. What do you care? I will be staying here tonight. Little sister Jiu, what do you think? Shui Wuji looked at Di Baiming provocatively. Everyone's gaze was focused on Yun Chujio, especially Di Baiming, whose eyes flashed with a heavy warning. Yun Chujio was silent for a moment, and then she looked like she suddenly understood. Ah, so that's how it is. Brother Wuji, then you can stay here. I'll stay at my sister's place. Tonight, you can share a bed with my Prince Charming. You guys should keep in touch. No wonder you've been advising me not to be with Prince Charming. It turns out that the two of you are a couple. I'll fulfill your wish then. You two can be together tonight. I'll leave the house to the two of you. An Feng, An Yin, and Hua Hua. No one is allowed to enter the house at night to disturb Prince Charming and Brother Wuji's love, do you hear me? The two of them have been love-hate relationship with each other for so many years. They don't get many chances to try each other out. There's no gender difference in love. You can't discriminate against them. Do you have red letters or red candles in your storage rings? Hurry up and make the arrangements. Today is their wedding night. Chapter 277, Coquettish Slut. The whole courtyard went dead silent after Yun Chujio said a bunch of things. Blech. Blech. That's disgusting. Shui Wuji almost vomited. What a joke. Even if he was really gay, he would not choose someone with facial paralysis like Di Biming. Black thing. Shut up. Nonsense. What kind of nonsense have you been thinking of this whole time? You're still so young. Why don't you pick up the good stuff? If Di Biming had not lost his hair, he would have stood, rising along with his anger. An Feng, An Yin, and secret agent Huahua were also shocked by Yun Chujia's shocking words. The three of them were completely dumbfounded. An Feng was the most active in his thoughts. He swept his gaze between Xue Wuji and Di Biming. Although the ninth Miss words were a little shocking, the relationship between His Excellency and Xue Wuji were really unusual. The two of them had been fighting for so many years, but neither of them had managed to kill the other. Moreover, every time the two of them attacked, they could have killed each other with just a little bit of trickery, yet they still gave each other a chance to live. Could it be that they were really in love-hate, gay relationship as Yun Chujio had mentioned? An Feng shivered and did not dare to think further. He had been brought into a ditch by Yun Chujio. Little ninth sister, even if you don't want me to stay here with you, don't slander me like this. Besides, I like pretty little girls like you. Even if I was really queer, I wouldn't like someone with a paralyzed expression like Di Biming. Xue Wuji glanced at Di Biming with disdain. Xue Wuji, someone like you. Someone like this. Humph. Such a coquettish slut. Even if you were my subordinate, I still wouldn't take a fancy to you. In his anger, Di Biming borrowed the phrase that Yun Chujio had said, feeling that those two words were too compatible with Xue Wuji. Coquettish slut. Xue Wuji was simply furious. Di Biming. Just because I'm not giving you a taste of your own medicine today, you think we can chit-chat? Xue Wuji said as he threw a palm at Di Biming. Yun Chujio kicked Di Biming's reclining chair away, which allowed him to dodge Xue Wuji's slap. Brother Wuji. A gentleman only fights with words. Come. Have a fruit to calm your anger. Yun Chujio stood up and handed a spirit fruit to Xue Wuji with a smile. Xue Wuji's expression changed a few times. In the end, he took the spirit fruit from Yun Chujio's hand. Di Biming, I didn't expect you to rely on a little girl to protect you. What an eye-opener. Brother Wuji, what are you saying? It's clearly you who are unwilling to take advantage of others. What does that have to do with me? Such a talented and peerless figure like you naturally has a proud and unyielding character. Why would you do such a shameless thing like adding insult to injury? Yun Chujio said with a grin. Xue Wuji was almost choked to death by Yun Chujio's words. He gritted his teeth and said, Little sister Jiu really knows how to talk. I think you should no longer be held back by Spirit Radiance sect and leave with me. I'll take you around to enjoy the delicacies of the world. How about it? An Feng and An Yin heard Xue Wuji's words and immediately became nervous. They took a few steps forward, afraid that Xue Wuji would snatch Yun Chujio away. Brother Wuji, your suggestion really isn't bad. Unfortunately, I'm too weak now. When I become stronger, I'll definitely travel with you. Yun Chujio did not seem to have heard Xue Wuji's subtext and replied in a serious manner. Little sister Jiu, you must seize the opportunity and come with me today. Xue Wuji sneered a few times and reached out his hand to grab Yun Chujio. Xue Wuji did not have An Feng and An Yin in his eyes at all. Other than Di Biming, there was no other opponent for this young master. As for Yun Chujio, she was even more of a piece of cake. If he subdued her, it would be equivalent to slapping Di Biming's face. Then, he will see if this expressionless person still pretends. Chapter 278, Brother Wuji, please stay. Xue Wuji and Yun Chujio were very close to each other. An Feng and An Yin did not expect Xue Wuji to suddenly make a move. It was too late for the two of them to save her. Just as Xue Wuji's hand almost touched Yun Chujio, she nimbly dodged his hand. Then, she waved her right hand and a purple lightning bolt struck Xue Wuji. Although Xue Wuji was caught off guard, his spiritual power was still superb after all. He tilted his body slightly to dodge Yun Chujia's attack. "Oh, little sister Jiu is really something." Xue Wuji's words stopped abruptly because he never expected that another purple bolt of lightning would strike. In his knowledge, a mere 4th-level spirit enhancement cultivator who had just cast a spell would need at least a few dozen or even 100 breaths before he could use the spell again. He never thought that Yun Chujio, this weirdo, could actually attack consecutively. Xue Wuji's left shoulder was struck by Yun Chujio. While Xue Wuji was still in a daze, an Yin and an Feng blocked Yun Chujio and Di Biming from the front. Xue Wuji was dumbfounded. "I was injured by a 4th-level spirit-enhanced cultivator. If this were to be made known to the public, they would laugh their heads off." Just as Xue Wuji was still in a daze, Di Biming suddenly said in a cold voice, "Xue Wuji, Black Thing is my bottom line. If you don't want to cause more trouble in the Tianyuan continent, don't think about her in the future." Xue Wuji was stunned. The two factions had been at loggerheads for a long time, but that was the first time Di Biming had said such harsh words. It seemed that he really had his heart set on Yun Chujio. Was Yun Chujio not just a greedy little girl? What was Di Biming attracted to? Xue Wuji was stunned for a moment, then he laughed out loud. "I was just joking. Little sister Jiu is so cruel. She actually hurt me, her big brother. My heart hurts more than my shoulders. Brother Wuji, I just released my spiritual power and I couldn't control myself for a moment, so I couldn't aim accurately. I originally wanted to help you change your hairstyle, but I suddenly missed. I'm sorry. How about I try again? I promise I'll give you the same hairstyle as us." Yun Chujio raised her right hand, smiled widely at Xue Wuji. Xue Wuji shook his head like a rattledrum. "No. No. This hairstyle is not suitable for me. Little sister Jiu, why can you use magic continuously?" Yun Chujio had an innocent look on her face. "I don't know either. Maybe God thinks I've been living too miserably in the past, so he decided to compensate me. Brother Wuji, it's getting late. Do you want to have sex with your Prince Charming or go back?" "All right. Since little sister Jiu doesn't want me to stay, then I can only leave sadly. I'll visit you again in a few days. See you later." With Xue Wuji's shoulder hurting faintly in addition to Di Biming's words just now, he decided to temporarily stop fooling around. Just as Xue Wuji and secret agent Huahua were about to leave, Yun Chujio shouted from behind, "Brother Wuji, please wait." Xue Wuji's heart was filled with joy. "Humph. I've mentioned it before. I'm much more alluring than that Di Biming. This little girl must be regretting it, and she's probably trying to get me to stay. Little sister Jiu, you don't have to say more. My heart is broken. I have to leave today." Xue Wuji said in a pretentious manner. "Ah, no, Brother Wuji, you've misunderstood. You always give me spirit stones when you visit. Aren't you going to give me anything this time? Besides, you've eaten my food and spirit fruits. Those aren't cheap." Yun Chujio stretched out her small claws confidently. Chapter 279, Prince Charming, You Are Too Awesome. Xue Wuji stumbled and almost fell down. "Yun Chujio, can you be any more shameless? I've given you so many things, and you ask me for money just because I ate a few mouthfuls of your vegetables and a lousy fruit. Brother Wuji, why aren't you speaking? Are you contemplating what to give me? There's no need for it to be complicated. Just give me some spirit stones. I'm not greedy. 1,000,000 isn't too much, 10,000 isn't too little. I know Brother Wuji is the most generous person, so you definitely won't let me down." Yun Chujia's smile was very bright. Shui Wuji felt so angered by the little girl that he was about to vomit blood. Di Baiming said leisurely from the side, "Black thing. Shui Wuji is famous for being a cheapskate in Tianyuan continent. How could he give you spirit stones? You'd better give up on this idea. Little sister Jiu, don't listen to his nonsense. He's blatantly slandering me. Here. I'll give you these spirit stones." Shui Wuji took out 10,000 low-grade spirit stones painfully. Shui Wuji. Aren't you going to admit that you're a cheapskate? How can you take out only 10,000 low-grade spirit stones? I've always given Black Thing 1,000,000 spirit stones as a base. Di Baiming said disdainfully. 1,000,000? Shui Wuji's heart was about to shatter. However, for the sake of his honor, he could only force himself to say, this is just an appetizer. Little sister Jiu, don't use your spiritual sense to resist me. I'll transfer the remaining 990,000 spirit stones to your storage ring. Yun Chuzhou nodded cheerfully. No resistance, no resistance. Brother Wuji, you're really generous. Brother Wuji, the next time you come again, I won't charge you for your meal. Shui Wuji was not in the mood to deal with Yun Chuzhou. He said a few words perfunctorily and quickly left with Secret Agent Huahua. He felt that if he did not leave, he might even be extorted for even more spirit stones. Shui Wuji left Spirit Radiance sect. He was so angry that he smashed a huge rock into powder with one palm. I'm so angry. I'm so angry. Di Baiming, this expressionless man, and that stinking girl are singing the same tune. They cheated me of 1,000,000 spirit stones. I won't forgive them. Secret Agent Huahua waited for Shui Wuji to vent his anger before he said, "Young master, have you noticed? The lightning that Yun Chuzhou released isn't the silver heavenly lightning that ordinary thunder root spirits have. It's actually purple." Shui Wuji nodded. I've also noticed it. Not only that, she can actually use spells consecutively. It's indeed a little strange. Young master, although this little girl's strength is lacking now, when she grows up, shall be a powerful helper to Di Baiming. Should we kill her before she becomes stronger? Kill her? No rush, no rush. I think it's better to get her to be my helper than to kill her. When that time comes, Di Baiming will definitely be so angry that he will vomit blood. I don't believe that I can't compete with that expressionless man. That little girl will definitely slowly realize that I am her true lover. After I finish using her, I'll tell her the truth. Ha ha ha. When that happens, it will definitely be very interesting. Secret Agent Huahua lowered his head and did not say anything. Young master, you better be careful. That little girl is much more shrewd than you. When that happens, you will not be the one who will be scammed instead of the little girl. Achoo! Achoo! The black-headed chicken must be talking about me. Ha ha ha. Prince Charming, you are too awesome. If it weren't for your godly assistance, I would only be able to scam 10,000 spirit stones at most. Yun Chuzhou could not be happier. What you said makes sense. If it weren't for me, you would only be able to scam that red-robed fool for 10,000 spirit stones. Since that's the case, transfer the remaining 990 to me. Di Baiming said indifferently. Chapter 280, was even more shameless than me. Yun Chuzhou almost slapped herself in the face. Who told you to be talkative? Who told you to be cocky? The gigolo had found a loophole. However, there was no way for him to take the spirit stones that were already in her hands. Yun Chuzhou picked up her chopsticks and continued eating, acting as if she did not hear him. Those who were in the battle of wits just a few moments ago had not had their fill of the food. Black thing, don't assume that you can go back on your words just because you don't speak. If you don't give it to me, best believe that it'll make you pay me double in the future. Di Baiming raised his eyebrows. Yun Chuzhou secretly scolded the gigolo 100 times before continuing to pretend that she did not hear him. She ate happily. Di Baiming glanced at Yun Chuzhou and said faintly, "Black thing, I'll ask you again. Are you going to give it to me or not? I don't care if you want to hog it all to yourself, but in the future, you can forget about eating these food again." Yun Chuzhou weighed the pros and cons and immediately said shamelessly, "Prince Charming, I'm not acting dumb. I just want to have a good time since I've never had that many spirit stones. However, since you want it, I'll give it to you." The miserable Yun Chuzhou did not even get the chance to hold the 990,000 spirit stones and it already left her hands. Therefore, she turned her anger into appetite and ate all the food on the stone table. Then, she hummed while rubbing her belly. "Wow, I'm so full. And Feng, carry the Prince Charming into the house. Help him wipe his face again. I'm so full now. I have to digest my food before I do anything. Humph. Gigolo, since you're stealing my spirit stones, I won't serve you anymore." Di Baiming curled the corner of his mouth. "Black thing, I initially thought that it was quite troublesome for you to carry me and wipe my face, and wanted to pay you some reward for it. Since you're not feeling well, then forget about it." Yun Chuzhou immediately jumped over and asked, "My Prince Charming, how much do you plan to pay? Why are you asking if you're not feeling well? And Feng, carry me into the house." Di Baiming said lightly. And Feng was very smart. He immediately came over and said, "Miss Jiu, let me carry our lord. You can continue walking around. Go away. That's my bedroom. Can a man like you enter as he pleases? Prince Charming, give me a price. I'm not that full anymore." Yun Chuzhou said obsequiously. Di Baiming glanced at her. "Since you're so proactive, I'll let you carry me. As usual, 2,000 spirit stones for each service. Deal." Yun Chuzhou was afraid that Di Baiming would go back on his word, so she carried him into the room. After entering the room, Yun Chuzhou was like a hard-working bee. She helped Di Baiming take off his coat, then wiped his face and rinsed his mouth. She was extremely attentive. Di Baiming curled the corners of his mouth. "Black thing, no matter how hard you jump, you can't escape from my palm." Yun Chuzhou finally finished her work. She laid on the bed and pondered. Damn it, she had just earned 10,000 spirit stones in half a day. It was not even a fraction of 990,000. The gigolo was using her money to hire her to serve him. Shameless. He was even more shameless than her. Yun Chuzhou was not happy, so she naturally wanted to torture Di Baiming. Therefore, she got up and said to him lovingly, "Give me a good night kiss, Prince Charming." Di Baiming was stunned at first, then he said in a panic, "Nonsense. Go to sleep. Prince Charming, don't be shy. Come, let me have a kiss." Yun Chuzhou pouted her pink and tender lips and slowly approached him. Di Baiming's heart was filled with both anticipation and anger. He thought of what happened that morning and felt that this black thing was definitely teasing him again. Yun Chuzhou naturally did not want to kiss him. She wanted to tease Di Baiming, but unfortunately, her hand slipped and she could not support her body. Yun Chuzhou's lips landed directly on Di Baiming's lips. Di Baiming naturally would not let go of such a good opportunity. He immediately began conquering her. A thought flashed through Yun Chuzhou's mind. Fuck, I, a dumb child, accidentally forcefully kissed the gigolo again. Chapter 281, I'll take care of you. After a long while, the two's French kissing finally came to an end. Yun Chuzhou got up and pretended to be calm. Not bad. My Prince Charming, your kissing skills have improved vastly. Yun Chuzhou did not wait for Di Biming to react and hit her little head under the quilt. Damn, it was so embarrassing. From the corner of his eye, Di Biming saw Yun Chuzhou hiding under the blanket like a quail. He could not help but smile. This black thing actually knows how to be shy. How rare. The next morning, Di Biming woke up early. He did not sleep well throughout the night. The scenes in his dream was really. Di Biming subconsciously raised his hand to move Yun Chuzhou's arm from his chest. Then, he was stunned. I can move now. Di Biming slightly raised his leg and turned his neck. He had really returned to normal. At that moment, Yun Chuzhou woke up. Before she opened her eyes, she stretched her body and smiled widely at Di Biming. Prince Charming, good morning. Are you feeling better? Can you move now? Di Biming's eyes flashed. My neck is better, but I can't move the other parts yet. Yun Chuzhou comforted him, Prince Charming, illness comes like a landslide, and goes away slowly. Take your time, there's no rush. Di Biming nodded. His heart was deeply moved, and he asked in a deep voice, well, I hope so. If I'm really disabled, what will you do? Yun Chuzhou was stunned at first, then she said indifferently, it's okay. It's okay. If you're really disabled, I'll take care of you. Di Biming's heart warmed up. Black Thing truly loved me deeply. Even if I'm crippled, she would not abandon me. Anyway, it won't delay the birth of your child. When the time comes, I'll get your son to serve you. Then, I'll be able to go out and have fun. Ha ha ha. Oh yeah, you're crippled now. From now on, your storage ring belongs to me. I'll be in charge of finances. Black Thing, just give up on that idea. Even if I'm crippled, I won't let you have the money to go out and show off. Di Biming was so angry that he almost choked. Yun Chuzhou pouted. Look at how stingy you are. If you don't want to give it to me, then don't. I'll earn money and spend it myself. Humph. I don't believe that with my heaven-defying alchemy talent, I won't be able to earn money in the future. Maybe in the future, you'll have to rely on me to support you. Di Biming's eyes flashed, but he didn't say anything. HMH, you Black Thing. Even if you earn money, I'll still think of a way to get all your spirit stones into my possession. Can't have people like you have money. Seeing that Di Biming did not say anything, Yun Chuzhou thought that he had been convinced by her. She got down from the bed in a smugly. After washing up, she continued to provide him with her fee-based services. She helped Di Biming wipe his face, used mouthwash to freshen his mouth, then helped Di Biming put on a coat. Di Biming was both joyous and in pain. Yesterday, he could not move and Yun Chuzhou helped him with these things. He did not feel any different. However, now that he could move, it was really hard pretending to not be able to. Yun Chuzhou carried Di Biming to the recliner in the courtyard and said sneakily, Prince Charming, hurry up and prepare breakfast. I'm hungry. Di Biming probably feigned a guilty conscience and did not argue with her about the cost of the meal. He took out their breakfast from his storage ring. Yun Chuzhou scooped a bowl of porridge for them. She ate a mouthful before feeding Di Biming a mouthful. She did not feel that there was anything wrong with the two of them using the same spoon. Di Biming was secretly delighted. I'm really too wise. If this venerable self did not continue feigning illness, how could the Black Thing take care of me so meticulously? Besides, there isn't any matters that needs to be taken care of for the next few weeks, so I'll just pretend to be sick for some time. Chapter 282, The Miserable Emperor. After breakfast, Yun Chuzhou offered to give Di Biming a massage in order to earn money. He naturally agreed to it. Yun Chuzhou first massaged Di Biming's shoulders for a while, then started massaging his thighs. The miserable emperor was still feeling smug just a moment ago but was starting to reap the consequences. Yun Chuzhou did not care about anything else and started to press on Di Baiming's thigh. The emperor, who had always kept himself pure, could not withstand such a stimulation. A certain part of his body immediately reacted. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips in disdain. "Prince Charming, you said that your limbs are already stiff. How can there still be a reaction there? You're really a lecherous person. The ancestors really did not lie to me." Boom! Di Baiming's face instantly turned scarlet red. He stuttered, "Nonsense, nonsense. No, there's no need to massage anymore. How can I not? I'm a businessman with a spirit of honesty. Since I've taken your spirit stones, I naturally have to finish massaging you," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Di Baiming finally knew what it meant to lift a stone and throw it at his own feet. How could it be that less than 15 minutes passed even after such a long time? Di Baiming felt that time was passing so slowly. Finally, Yun Chuzhou withdrew her demon claw and announced that the massage was over. Di Baiming secretly heaved a sigh of relief. It was finally over. If it was not over, his true self would only be exposed. "Black thing, don't you need to go to the meeting hall today?" Di Baiming wanted to go down and exercise, so he naturally had to send Yun Chuzhou away. "No need. I've already explained everything clearly yesterday." Yun Chuzhou did not have any intention of leaving the courtyard. Di Baiming frowned, "Then, don't you need to go to the kitchen to work?" "No need. I'm skipping work." "Prince Charming, why do I feel like you're trying to chase me away? Are you going to do something bad behind my back?" Yun Chuzhou blinked and looked at Di Baiming suspiciously. "Nonsense. What bad things can I do? I'm afraid it'll delay your matters. Forget it if you don't appreciate my kindness." Di Baiming was a little angry from embarrassment. Yun Chuzhou rolled her eyes, "Ah, my Prince Charming. Now that you've mentioned it, I just remembered. I have to go to the spirit herb garden. Prince Charming, do you really not need me to take care of you?" Di Baiming's eyes lit up, "No, no, you go. Don't worry about me. An Feng and an Yin will take care of me." "All right. I'll go to the spirit herb garden then. See you later," Yun Chuzhou said and left. Di Baiming felt that Yun Chuzhou had gone far away, so he stood up and started to move his limbs on the ground. "Your Excellency, you're healed. Were you pretending just now?" An Feng asked in surprise. Di Baiming glanced at him, and An Feng shrunk his neck. He cursed in his heart. "Your Excellency, I didn't expect you to think of such a childish trick. You're really good." Yun Chuzhou only came back when it was almost dinner time. She fed Di Baiming dinner and the two of them returned to the bedroom. "My Prince Charming, I've already prepared the bath water. Come, let me help you take a bath." Yun Chuzhou took out a big hot tub from her storage ring. Di Baiming shouted angrily, "Didn't we bathe the night before yesterday? I don't want to bathe. I want to sleep." "Prince Charming, this isn't up to you. Besides, you can't move now. You'd have to wash up regardless, so might as well do it tonight. Besides, I didn't see anything last time. This time, I have to feast my eyes," Yun Chuzhou said lecherously. "Come on. Prince Charming. I'll help you take off your clothes first." Yun Chuzhou stretched out her claws and went straight for Di Baiming's belt. Chapter 283, I really didn't expect you to be such a Prince Charming. A cunning look flashed across Yun Chuzhou's eyes. "Gigolo, you actually pretended to be sick. Let's see if you still want to pretend this time. I am so smart. The gigolo usually keeps a close eye on me, but today he actually took the initiative to send me away. There must be something fishy going on. When Yun Chuzhou came back at night, she deliberately looked at the ground. Although Di Biming had destroyed most of the footprints, Yun Chuzhou still found a few residual footprints and immediately figured it out. Come, let me help you take off your belt. How dare you pretend to be sick and lie to me? Watch how I deal with you. When Di Biming saw that Yun Chuzhou was serious, he did not care if he was exposed. He directly grabbed Yun Chuzhou's little claws that were already on the move. Black thing. Stop. Yun Chuzhou pretended to be pleasantly surprised. My idol, you can actually move. Are you okay? Di Biming coughed and said unnaturally, I guess it's because I'm in a hurry that my blood flow is unblocked. My Prince Charming, then you have to thank me. If I didn't force you to take a bath, you might really be paralyzed. Shouldn't you show your gratitude? Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes, taking credit. Di Biming was a little guilty, so he said, cough. It's really thanks to you this time. I'll give you a few more spiritual fruits tomorrow. Prince Charming, how's your internal injury? Yun Chuzhou secretly curled her lips. What a stingy person. My internal injury needs to be slowly treated, but it's not a big deal anymore. Prince Charming, since you're fine, then I'll participate in the new disciple trial the day after tomorrow. Those old guys don't want me to participate. Humph. I'll just have to win the first place for them. I'll definitely be little ancestor Yun. Yun Chuzhou was initially conflicted about whether she should stay to take care of Di Biming or go to the trial. Now that he was fine, she naturally had to participate in the trial. Di Biming was in the wrong, so he could not stop Yun Chuzhou and could only say, then go. Safety first. I should also return. After I leave, if that red-robed fool still comes looking for you, just ignore him. With my threat, he won't dare to do anything to you. Although Di Biming said that, he was still a little uncertain. He decided to find something for Xue Wuji to do when he returned, so that he would not have the time to find trouble with Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou said sourly, all right, you can continue to go back and choose your consort. I really didn't expect you to be such a Prince Charming. On one hand, you've swore to stay by my side, and on the other hand, you're out looking for flirtatious bitches. Humph. Di Biming was stunned, and then he laughed, black thing. When did I swear to stay by you? Besides, the whole concubine selection thing was just a joke. Are you actually jealous? Jealous? I would never do such a lowly thing. Humph. If you dare to steal my man, I'll beat them until they can't find their way. Besides, I'm so beautiful now. I'm not afraid that no one will pursue me. Yun Chuzhou climbed onto the bed angrily and lay down on the inner side. Black thing, I'm warning you. After I leave, you better stop fooling around with me, or I will not forgive you. Di Biming felt that it was better for the black thing not to turn fairer. She was indeed a little more eye-catching. Yun Chuzhou pursed her lips and did not say anything. Black thing, did you hear that? Di Biming poked Yun Chuzhou, who had her back facing him. I'm asleep. Yun Chuzhou said proudly. Di Biming raised his eyebrows. When I leave tomorrow, I'll leave some delicious food for you. Be obedient. Yun Chuzhou immediately turned around. Really? My Prince Charming, I knew you were the best. I'll be obedient and train hard. I'll never be a womanizer. Can you leave some spirit stones for me too? Chapter 284, Bad Review. Di Biming's face darkened. You can have food and drinks, but spirit stones are out of the question. Yun Chuzhou curled her lips. What a stingy gigolo. I'll earn it myself. Humph. After breakfast the next day, Di Biming left. Yun Chuzhou secretly thought to herself, what an unromantic gigolo. He actually left without even giving her a goodbye kiss. Bad review for him. Yun Chuzhou first looked at the little black bird in the spirit beast pouch. The little black bird could be considered a blessing in disguise. Since it helped Yun Chuzhou resist the heavenly thunder, it actually went into hibernation again. When this hibernation ended, it would definitely advance again. Yun Chuzhou thought of the trial that was about to begin and felt that she should prepare for it. Hence, the big kitchen and the spirit herb garden suffered a huge loss. Yun Chuzhou first went to the kitchen to search for a lot of food, and then she took a few packets of chili powder, pepper, salt, and the likes. It was different from the previous borrowing. This time, she wanted it openly. Elder Huang was very satisfied with Yun Chuzhou by then, so he naturally would not be reluctant to give up those little things and let Yun Chuzhou choose what she needed herself. After Yun Chuzhou packed the things, she ran to the spirit herb garden again and planned to gather the wool. Coincidentally, Elder Qi was in seclusion to refine pills. Yun Chuzhou was overjoyed. The heavens are really helping me. Since the trial would take a month, even if Elder Qi came out and found out that I borrowed medicinal herbs and wanted to punish me, there was nothing he could do. Moreover, when that time comes, it'll be little ancestor Yun, and he won't dare to do anything to me. Hence, this would be considered an important event for her. After filling up 5 sacks of spirit herbs, she valiantly entered the alchemy room. Manager Gao, hurry up and open an alchemy room for me. I want to refine pills. Manager Gao saw that Yun Chuzhou had come again, so he could only give the jade token of alchemy room number 28 to her with a bitter face. Don't worry. Didn't I not release any poisonous fumes last time? I won't do it this time either. Don't be afraid. Yun Chuzhou smiled mischievously as she took the jade token and walked away. Manager Gao looked at Yun Chuzhou's bouncing silhouette and sighed. It turned out that this person could choke them to such an extent even without spiritual power. Now that she had spiritual power, she might not be able to produce an array of terrifying poisonous smoke. It was better for him to inform everyone. Manager Gao told them that Yun Chuzhou was there to refine pills again. An outer court disciple said, "That's not right. Isn't the new disciple trial tomorrow? Why did Yun Chuzhou come here to refine pills? Could it be that she doesn't want to participate in the trial anymore?" Although she can cultivate now, she's only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. Compared to others, she's still a piece of cake. She probably knew that she would be at the bottom even if she went, so she begged the higher-ups not to go. Perhaps it was Elder Qi who helped to plead for her. What you said makes sense. Elder Qi thinks highly of Yun Chuzhou. Otherwise, he wouldn't have asked her to help take care of the spirit herb garden. Even senior brother Ding Lang isn't allowed to enter the garden. Ding Lang's face immediately darkened. It turned out that Yun Chuzhou did not have any spiritual power, and yet his master thought so highly of her. Now that she had spiritual power, would she not be even more favored? Perhaps his master would take her in as a successor disciple. This damned girl should not stay. He must get rid of her once there was a chance. Time flew by, and soon it was 2 o'clock on the second day. Many people had already gathered on the southern Jade Square. The vast majority of them were new outer sect disciples and odd job workers. Master Xianyuan spoke as usual and announced that Elder Xiao and Elder Chu would be in charge of leading the team for this trial. Then, he let everyone board the airship and head to the trial grounds. Just as everyone had boarded the airship and was about to set off, a chopping board flew over from the sky. On it stood a little girl who was desperately waving the scarlet silk in her hand. Wait. Wait for me. I'm coming. Chapter 285, Don't be an eyesore. The corners of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched. Wasn't this little girl taking care of her benefactor? Why did she come to participate in the trial? The hearts of the 5 peak masters and elders also sank. They originally thought that Yun Chujio would not participate in the trial and did not expect to be present. Although she was only at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm, that chain of lightning strikes was not something an ordinary person could withstand. If she really got into the top 10, Spirit Radiance sect would have an astonishingly senior little ancestor. After Yun Chujio landed, she headed straight for the flying airship. As she ran, she said, "Oh my God, it's alright, it's alright. I almost couldn't make it in time. If I wasn't in this trial, how regretful would you all be?" Everyone's faces were filled with confusion. "Yun Chujio, can you save some honor for yourself? You're taking yourself too seriously. There wouldn't be a difference if you were around or not, alright? You're just a small fry at the 4th level of the spirit enhancement realm. Even if you try, you'll still end up at the bottom." Elder Shao said in a deep voice, "Don't waste your breath. Hurry up and board the ship." Yun Chujio secretly pursed her lips. This Elder Shao definitely did not agree with her. She reckoned that the trashy Bai siblings had often spoken ill of her in front of him. Coincidentally, after Yun Chujio boarded the spaceship, the first thing she saw was the Bai siblings and Yun Chushan. Yun Chujio was slightly stunned. How did their spiritual power increase so quickly? Bai Moyu was already at level 7 of spirit enhancement, and Bai Moru and Yun Chushan had also reached level 6 of spirit enhancement. "Little sister Jiu, you can also cultivate? That's great. The family head has always had high hopes for you. This time, he must be very pleased." Yun Chushan said softly, as if the unpleasant things from before had never happened. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. "Get out of my way. Fake White Lotus, 1. Yun Chushan had never expected Yun Chujio to embarrass her in front of so many people. Her eyes were slightly red, and she seemed to be suppressing her sadness as she said, "Little sister Jiu, I was kind enough to congratulate you, but you actually said that to me. It really makes me sad." When Yun Chushan's admirers saw the beauty crying, they immediately glared at Yun Chujio. It seemed that if it were not for the elders present, they would have rolled up their sleeves and beat Yun Chujio up. "Are you sad? Then get lost and be sad. Don't be an eyesore in front of me." Yun Chujio was now a free serf who could voice her opinions. Naturally, she would not swallow her anger and would do whatever she pleased. Yun Chushan was stunned for a moment, then she covered her face and ran away. A few of her admirers glared at Yun Chujio and followed her. Bai Moru wanted to say something but was stopped by Bai Moya's gaze. The two of them quietly left. Oh, those two scumbags were quite tolerant. They must be brewing some cunning ideas. However, it was fine if they did not provoke her. If they dared to provoke her, they would not be spared. Yun Chujio jumped in front of Yun Chuzi and the others and said with a grin, "Brothers and sisters, long time no see. Did you miss me?" The corners of Yun Chuzi and the others' mouths twitched. They had just met in the big kitchen yesterday, right? Where did the long time come from? Originally, when they saw that Yun Chujio had not arrived for a long time, the few of them had been extremely worried. Now that they saw Yun Chujio alive and kicking, they finally felt at ease. The 7 of them found a corner and sat down. It was said that the place they were going to for this trial was an ancient mystic realm, and it was not close to Spirit Radiance sect. They would probably only arrive tomorrow morning. When it was time for lunch, Yun Chujio took out a table from her storage ring. There was a sumptuous meal on it, and the 7 of them began to eat happily. Everyone ate their buns dryly and looked at Yun Chujio and the others with envy and jealousy. Chapter 286. What kind of precious object was that? Everyone stared at Yun Chujio and the others who were eating so sweetly. Who the hell came out to train and even brought a banquet? What a foodie. Some people looked at Yun Chujia's storage ring. The storage ring was expensive and was not something that ordinary people could afford. They did not know where Yun Chujio got a storage ring from. It was probably given to her by Elder Qi. She was really lucky. Yun Chujio was very shrewd. When she saw that Elder Shao and the other elders had not eaten yet, she ran over eagerly. "Elders, you haven't eaten yet, right? I've prepared a feast for you, please accept it." Although the elders did not care about their appetites, food that looked good, was fragrant, and tasty was naturally much better than having fasting pills. Therefore, their attitude toward Yun Chujio turned as warm as spring. The people who were eating the steamed buns secretly cursed Yun Chujio for being shameless. Then, they secretly made up their minds. In the future, they would work hard to earn money. If they could not afford a storage ring, it would be good to buy a few more storage bags. Otherwise, they would only be able to store steamed buns. After Yun Chujio was done with being hospitable, she returned to her seat and continued eating. The next morning, everyone arrived at the trial ground. Everyone got off the airship and was stunned. Did they not say that the trial ground was an ancient mystic realm? This place was bare. No need to even mention an ancient mystic realm, there was not even a strand of hair. Elder Chu saw everyone's confusion and could not help but twitch his lips. What a bunch of small fry. Well, that Yun Chujio barely even counts. Elder Chu and Elder Shao joined hands to form a seal and threw out a shiny object. Yun Chujio's eyes immediately began to glow with blue light. It was a treasure. What kind of precious object was that? Yun Chujio focused her gaze and immediately felt deflated. It turned out to be just a fragment of a mirror. After Elder Chu and Elder Shao's hand seals landed on the mirror fragment, the scene before everyone's eyes changed. A huge mountain gate appeared in front of everyone. Although it was dilapidated, the faint prehistoric aura it exuded made people involuntarily want to kneel down and worship it. The pillars of the mountain gate were carved with ancient and complicated patterns. Some curious disciples stared at it for a while and immediately felt dizzy. They hurriedly lowered their heads and did not dare to look at it again. It was as if taking a glance at it was a blasphemy to this ancient relic. The trial will last for a month. The final result will be calculated based on the demonic beast inner core and spiritual pill that you've obtained. Later on, each of you will be given a jade token. If you encounter danger and want to voluntarily give up, you only need to crush the jade token and you'll be teleported out. When the trial's deadline is up, you'll be teleported out. Now, enter the grounds. Elder Shao said in a deep voice. Just as the people of Spirit Radiance sect were about to enter the trial grounds, a huge airship flew over from the sky. Those with sharp eyes immediately recognized it. It's the spaceship of the Heavenly Gate sect. Don't tell me they're also here to train. After the airship landed, a few people who looked like elders walked out first, followed by some disciples, odd job workers, and so on. Walking in front of the group of disciples was a beautiful and refined woman with a cold and arrogant face. However, she looked at Yun Chujio as if she had been poisoned. It was Su Yenran. When the Bai siblings saw Su Yenran, their eyes revealed a strange joy. Yun Chujio, you're dead meat this time. Elder Shao and the others were very surprised. Over the years, although the four great sects did not have an explicit agreement, they had tacitly avoided the time of the other sect's trial. What did the Heavenly Gate sect meant with this? Ha! Everyone, please. I didn't expect that the trial for the new disciples of our two sects would actually be held on the same day. What a coincidence. An old man with a hooked nose cupped his hands at Elder Chu and the others. Although Elder Shao and the others were bewildered, they were still chatting happily with the elders of the Heavenly Gate sect. After chatting for a while, they reverted to the main topic. Elder Zhang, the leader of the Heavenly Gate sect, said with a fake smile, everyone, our two sects are fated. Since we've met, why don't we make a bet? Make a bet? Elder Shao thought to himself, it seems that the Heavenly Gate sect had lost their honor last time, so this time, they're looking for trouble. Chapter 287, This fellow does not want to enter anymore, it's very simple. Well, just bet on which of our two sects will have the highest points in the end. As for the stakes, 1,000,000 low-grade spirit stones shouldn't be much. It's just to add to the fun. Elder Zhang said, but a trace of cunningness flashed in his eyes. Elder Shao and Elder Chu exchanged glances. They had been forced to this point, so they naturally had to agree. Otherwise, they would think that Spirit Radiance sect was afraid of the Heavenly Gate sect. Alright. It's a deal. Then let's have your sect take out the Void Mirror fragment as well. Let the disciples enter. Elder Shao said in a deep voice. Elder Zhang nodded. Then, he and Elder Zheng from the Heavenly Gate sect formed a seal at the same time. Then, they threw out a mirror fragment as well, and it floated in the air together with Spirit Radiance sect's mirror fragment. Elder Zhang and the disciples of the Heavenly Gate sect exchanged a few words. The gist was similar to what Elder Shao had said. After the disciples of the two sects received the teleportation jade token, they disappeared after entering the mountain gate. They had already been randomly teleported to different areas. Yun Chuzhou had secretly planned to go in hand with Yun Chuzi and the others, so that they could stay together. The more people there were, the greater the strength. Even if they encountered powerful demonic beasts, they would not be afraid. Moreover, when they rested at night, they could take turns to be on guard, which was beneficial to the preservation of their physical strength. Yun Chuzhou did not expect that this mysterious ancient land to have so many restrictions. For example, only those who were refining could enter, and that they would be teleported randomly, or that they were forbidden to fly or use any talismans in there. Yun Chuzhou could only secretly give each of them a few porcelain bottles. Then, she said, there are hemostatic pills, fasting pills, and a few bottles of poisons with different effects. Keep them well. Remember. One must guard against others. Don't meddle in other people's business. Nothing is more important than one's life. When the situation gets bad, run away. If you really can't do it, break the jade token. Do you hear me? Although Yun Chuzi and the others were older than Yun Chuzhou, they all felt that they did not have as many ideas as her. They all listened carefully and expressed that they would definitely do as Yun Chuzhou said. Yun Chuzhou mumbled to herself and instructed them on some other matters before she followed everyone into the mountain gate. A dazzling white light flashed, and with a bang, Yun Chuzhou was thrown to the ground. Huh? Why did the place she teleported to look so familiar? Yun Chuzhou rubbed her sore buttocks that were about to break into pieces. She stood up to take a look. Fuck, why was she not teleported in but bounced back instead? The elders of Spirit Radiance sect and the Heavenly Gates sect were also dumbfounded. What was going on? For thousands of years, they had never heard of any disciple being bounced back. Even the disciples who did not meet the conditions only had jade tokens that did not react. Why was this little girl bounced back? Yun Chuzhou laughed dryly. I reckon that the mystic realm took a nap just now. I'll try again. Yun Chuzhou carefully walked into the mountain gate again. Then, a white light flashed, and the miserable Yun Chuzhou was once again thrown to the ground. Fuck. Are you done fooling around? I can forgive you for being careless after falling once. But you've done it again and again. Do you think I want to go in? Fuck, I'm not going in anymore. Yun Chuzhou pointed at the mountain gate and cursed. Everyone was stunned. From ancient times until now, no one had heard of anyone sitting on the ground, pointing at the ancient realm and cursing. Moreover, this matter was too strange. Why did the mystery realm want to bounce this little girl out? The elders of the Spirit Radiance sect thought of a question at the same time. Could it be that Yun Chujio was rejected by the ancient realm because she had a heavenly thunder root spirit and was not tolerated by the heavens? While everyone was still in a daze, a dazzling white light flashed. Yun Chujio, who was on the ground, was sucked into the mountain gate by a suction and disappeared without a trace. Chapter 288, Yun Chujio, who had nothing left to live for the elders of Spirit Radiance sect tensed up. How did Yun Chujio get sucked in again? Could it be that this ancient mystical realm wanted to take revenge on Yun Chujio? This ancient mystical realm had existed for tens of thousands of years, so it was inevitable that it would produce a weapon spirit existence. If it wanted to take revenge on Yun Chujio, it was likely that Yun Chujio would be doomed. Could it be that even the teleportation jade token would lose its effect? The more the people from Spirit Radiance sect thought about it, the more they felt that things were not looking good. Although they did not want Yun Chujio to become some little ancestor Yun Chujio has the rare heavenly thunder root spirit. Was she going to die just like that? Although the people from the Heavenly Gates sect were also a little surprised, this matter had nothing to do with them. They just treated it as a pastime and put it aside after a short discussion. Elder Zhang's eyes revealed a trace of viciousness. Yun Chujio, you better pray that you don't run into people from the Heaven Gate sect, or else your life will be taken. How dare you humiliate my grandson? How audacious! The grandson of Elder Zhang was Zhang Xiong, who was forced by Yun Chujio to write a confession at Middle Peak's cafeteria previously. After Zhang Xiong went back, he told Elder Zhang everything that happened. When Elder Zhang came, he had already given an order to the people of Heavenly Gates sect. After entering the mystic realm, if they encountered Yun Chujio, she should be killed without mercy. As for the other members of Spirit Radiance sect, they would snatch the pills and demonic beast cores that they had gathered. If the opportunity was right, they could kill them. The prerequisite was that they could not be seen by others. Achoo! Achoo! Which bastard is scolding me? Yun Chujio, whose face was full of despair, sneezed twice. Why did she have nothing to live for? Yun Chujio felt that the place where she was teleported to was too much of a pain in the *SS. The place where Yun Chujio was teleported to was a desert that stretched as far as the eye could see. Although it was not noon yet, the sunlight was scorching and it felt like fire burning on her face. The place where Yun Chujio fell should not be far from a water source because there were several huge cacti growing there, and Yun Chujio was directly teleported into the flower heart of a huge cactus. It was not that Yun Chujio had not considered jumping off it. Although the distance from the ground was very high, the ground was covered with sand, it would not hurt her if she fell. Sadly, there were more than 1,000 desert scorpions lying densely on the ground. These desert scorpions were Tier 3 demonic beasts. Each of them was more than 3 feet long. Their entire bodies were black, and their 2 pincers emitted a cold light. The stingers on their tails were even more terrifying. Yun Chujio felt her scalp go numb. If she were to jump down, she would be killed at any moment. Damn it! It was forbidden to fly there. Otherwise, she would be able to fly away on the chopping board. She was really worried to death. Crack! Rip! Yun Chujio sadly realized that because she sneezed twice, the stalk of the flower she was on was about to break. On the ground, the poisonous stingers on the tail of the desert scorpions stood up high and glared at Yun Chujio. They were just waiting for Yun Chujio to fall before they got to enjoy a delicious meal. The desert was already extremely hot to begin with, and Yun Chujio was sweating profusely. What should she do? What should she do? Should she crush the jade token? The little ancestor Yun title was not more important than her life. Crack! Crack! There was only a sliver of connection on the flower stalk left. The scorpions on the ground began to stir. They began to fight for the more advantageous position, preparing to snatch the fat meat in their mouths. Yun Chuzhou gritted her teeth. Forget it, I'm not going to do it anymore. It's more important to survive. Yun Chuzhou used force and crushed the jade token. Then. There was no then. There was no fucking reaction at all. Chapter 289, Delicious Cactus Fruit. Damn. Why isn't there any reaction? Could it be that she was given a defective product? Yun Chuzhou almost choked. Which bastard was sabotaging her? He actually gave her a useless jade token. When I get out, I will not let him off. However, it was not the time to be angry. It was better to think about what to do. Crack, crack. The flower was on the verge of breaking. At that moment, Yun Chuzhou was extremely thankful for her small, dry body. Otherwise, she would have fallen off if it had been more plump. What should she do? The chopping board could not be used. The concealment talisman given to her by the gigolo could not be used either. The defensive spirit tool could be used, but there were so many desert scorpions there. She was afraid that she would not be able to last until the end. She did not expect that such a beautiful genius like her would actually die there. This was really unreasonable. Yun Chuzhou used her spiritual sense to rummage through her storage ring. Her eyes lit up when she saw the scarlet silk. Yun Chuzhou tied a knot on the top of the scarlet silk. Then, she threw it onto the branch of the nearest cactus, pulled it tightly, and swung it over. The moment Yun Chuzhou left the flower, the stalk of the flower broke completely and fell into the group of scorpions. The scorpions did not reject it and ate the flower. Yun Chuzhou could not help but wonder why these scorpions did not eat the cactus. Just as Yun Chuzhou was distracted, a few giant thorns on the cactus actually separated from its original body and shot toward Yun Chuzhou. Fortunately, Yun Chuzhou had a defensive spirit tool on her body, which formed a spiritual energy barrier to block the giant thorns. Otherwise, she would have been pierced into a sieve. Yun Chuzhou finally understood why those scorpions did not eat the cactus. It turned out that when these cactuses were attacked, they would use the thorns to attack the enemy. Fortunately, she was teleported into the flower's heart. If she were to crash into the cactus. Yun Chuzhou convinced herself that the scene was too beautiful, so it was better not to think about it. She carefully found a flower that looked relatively sturdy and sat inside the flower's heart. For the time being, her life was no longer in danger. Yun Chuzhou was drooling over the cactus fruit next to her. Although the cactus flowers were huge, the fruit was only the size of 2 adult fists. It was red and emitted a sweet fragrance. However, there were also some tiny thorns on the fruits, they were probably used for defense. Yun Chuzhou threw the scarlet silk at the nearest fruit. As expected, the little thorns on the fruit shot toward the scarlet silk. Yun Chuzhou deliberately waited for a while until the thorns on the fruit were gone, only then did she put away the scarlet silk. Yun Chuzhou looked at the fruit carefully. It was quite similar to the fire dragon fruit, but she was not sure if it tasted good or not. Since there was a strange grass in her dantian, she was not afraid of being poisoned to death. She peeled off the skin of the fruit and casually threw it on the ground. Then, she took a small bite. It's delicious. Too delicious. It's soft, sweet, and juicy. Yun Chuzhou began to eat like a wolf. After finishing her food, she was still not satisfied, so she brought back all the fruits that she could get from the surroundings and started to eat them happily. Yun Chuzhou could not eat anymore, so she put the rest into her storage ring. After eating and drinking her fill, Yun Chuzhou started to worry. Staying in this flower heart was not a long-term solution. The flowers on this cactus might wither the next day. What should she do then? These damn scorpions would not be watching her all the time, would they? She was so skinny that she did not even have a couple tails of meat. Why would so many of them be watching her? Just as Yun Chujio was frowning, she suddenly heard a commotion on the ground. Yun Chujio stretched her neck and looked down curiously. Then, she was shocked. Chapter 290, Natural Foodies Must Be Useful Fuck. What was going on? Yun Chujio noticed that the desert scorpions on the ground were starting to fight among themselves. Dozens of scorpions attacked their own kind as if they had gone crazy, and then began to fight among themselves. Yun Chujio touched her chin and thought to herself, could it be that these scorpions had gone crazy? The dozens of scorpions were quickly bitten to death by their own kind, and the victorious scorpions began to eat the corpses. A dramatic scene ensued. The scorpions that ate the corpses also began to become restless. Although they were not as crazy as the dozens of scorpions before, they were clearly becoming restless. Soon, a chaotic battle broke out again. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Why did the symptoms of these scorpions seem like they had rabies? It seemed to be some kind of poison, but after the second infection, it was starting to weaken. Yun Chujio's eyes suddenly lit up. Could it be because they ate the skin of the cactus fruit that she threw at them? In order to verify her theory, Yun Chujio took out a cactus fruit from her storage ring, peeled off the skin, and threw it on the ground. A few scorpions quickly ate the skin. After a while, the few scorpions began to bite their own kind crazily. Yun Chujio could not help but laugh at the sky. Ha ha ha. A natural foodie must be useful. If it weren't for my greed, how could I have found such an interesting thing? After they kill each other, I only need to pick up their demon cores. Let me do the math, she counted with her fingers. Desert scorpions were a tier 3 demon beast. A demon core cost 100 points. There were more than 1,000 of them here. It was not impossible for her to get 100,000 points. Yun Chujio did not have a choice. She quickly peeled off the remaining cactus fruits and threw them on the ground. Then, she watched the desert scorpions continuously attack each other. She was shouting and cheering from above. Go! Bite it to death! Idiot! Bite it! Use your pincers to clamp it! You little cripple! Charge! Sacrifice yourself for little happy me! These desert scorpions already had some intelligence. Perhaps they felt that something was wrong. The hundreds of scorpions on the outside quickly ran away. Yun Chujio groaned in pain. Don't run. Keep fighting. Seriously. Tens of thousands of points are gone just like that. Yun Chujio waited for a while. After making sure that the scorpions had really run far away, she jumped down from the flower and landed on the sand. Yun Chujio looked at the few cactuses beside her, then picked up a scorpion's corpse and threw it at one of the cactuses. The huge thorns on the cactuses instantly turned the scorpions into hedgehogs. Yun Chujio relied on the spirit weapon to protect herself and kept throwing the scorpions' corpses on the ground at the cactuses. Soon, the thorns on the cactuses were all shot out. Yun Chujio did the same thing, removing the thorns on the other cactuses. Then, she started to use the silk to remove the cactus fruits and put them in her storage ring happily. This thing was not only delicious, but also a must-have for pit beasts. She had to get more. After picking all the fruits, she felt that these cactuses might be beneficial, so she took out a big kitchen knife and cut off one of them with great strength and put it in her storage ring. Yun Chujio took out the demon cores from the desert scorpions and put them away. Then, she hopped toward the east. Why did she head east? Because the scorpions had escaped to the west, so she naturally had to go in the opposite direction. However, she overlooked something. Perhaps the scorpions were afraid of something in the east, so they fled to the west. Chapter 291, a tough nut to crack. At first, Yun Chuzhou was still hopping around. Then, she started walking faster, and then slowed down, before finally quickened her pace again. Damn it! Is there no end to this lousy desert? I'm so tired. Rolling pin, can't you install 2 wheels under the chopping board and become multifunctional? The rolling pin's heart was on the verge of collapse. Master, I'm a pin. A pin. The fact that I can turn into a chopping board was already very abnormal, okay? Now you want me to have wheels? This is simply a tough nut to crack. If I knew this would happen, I would have kept a scorpion. I pulled out its stinger, cut off its pincers, and mount it. What a mistake. Fortunately, I have enough food and water. I can last for a month at most. When the time is up, I will naturally be teleported out. After Yun Chuzhou mentally adjusted herself and continued to move forward slowly. At noon, the sun was even hotter. Yun Chuzhou was afraid that her skin would turn tan again, so she wrapped herself tightly and made a simple parasol before continuing to move forward. Finally, Yun Chuzhou saw a patch of green in front of her. Could it be a desert oasis? Yun Chuzhou was suddenly energized. She did not care about the parasol and ran quickly. After a while, Yun Chuzhou ran back quickly and shouted as she ran, "Fuck. Didn't they say that the highest level demon beast here is a tier 4 demon beast? Why is there a tier 8 single-horned demon lizard?" A large amount of sand and dust rose behind Yun Chuzhou as a huge green single-horned demon lizard crawled over. Yun Chuzhou wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Tier 8. That was equivalent to the 9th level of the spirit cultivator realm. Back then, although those mighty elephants were fooled by her, that was because they were afraid of the almighty experts and spirit radiant sex array formation. This single-horned demon lizard did not have any worries. No wonder that group of damned desert scorpions did not flee this way. It turned out that there was such a great demon beast here. Who the fuck would dare to come? Throwing the cactus fruit? What kind of joke was that? Even if the one-horned demon lizard did not go crazy, it was already so terrifying. If it went crazy, would it not go absolutely berserk? Yun Chuzhou was already exhausted to begin with, so the single-horned demon lizard caught up with her effortlessly. It extended its long tongue toward Yun Chuzhou. She dodged to the side. Yun Chuzhou knew that she would not be able to outrun the single-horned demon lizard, so she could only stop and take out the rolling pin to fight it. Keep your tongue. Listen to me first. You can eat me later. Yun Chuzhou looked at the single-horned demon lizard's long tongue and could not help but get goosebumps all over her body. The single-horned demon lizard was stunned. It did not expect that this little human girl would not run away. Although it could not speak human language, it could still understand it. We don't have any grudges with each other, right? I didn't steal your beauty nor kill your child, right? Yun Chuzhou asked seriously. The single-horned demon lizard did not know what Yun Chuzhou meant with that question, so it nodded its huge head. So, you and I have no grudges. Why do you have to eat me then? Yun Chuzhou said innocently. The single-horned demon lizard looked at Yun Chuzhou with disdain. It obviously thought that Yun Chuzhou was asking nonsense. The strong preyed on the weak. What kind of reason did she need? Look, my body is skinny, and I don't have much meat. How about this? I have the demon cores of the desert scorpion in my storage ring. Isn't that thing more delicious than my meat? I'll give you a dozen of them. Let me go. Yun Chuzhou took out a handful of desert scorpion's demon cores from her storage ring, as she said pitifully. Chapter 292, Can't Ever Get Married. The single-horned demon lizard's huge eyes flashed with a trace of cunningness, and then it nodded. Yun Chuzhou threw the desert scorpion's demon core in her hand and then quickly ran forward. The single-horned demon lizard's tongue nimbly flew up and down, catching all the demon cores that Yun Chuzhou deliberately threw in all directions into its mouth. Then, with a strong push of its hind legs, it actually jumped up and landed in front of Yun Chuzhou, blocking her. Damn it! She knew that the ugly reptile was greedy and shameless. Yun Chuzhou showed an expression of deceive. Lord Lizard, you can't be like this. You've already eaten my demon cores. Why do you still want to eat me? You're not being honest. The single-horned devil lizard showed a contemptuous look. Not being honest? We can be honest after I eat you. The devil lizard stretched out its huge tongue and moved toward Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou continued to throw the desert scorpion's demon cores while hiding. Seeing that there were more demon cores to eat, the single-horned demon lizard immediately changed its target and started to eat the demon cores with its tongue. Yun Chuzhou took the opportunity to turn around and run away. However, it was obvious that the struggle was futile. The single-horned demon lizard soon caught up with her again. Yun Chuzhou had no choice but to throw more demon cores again. Just like that, Yun Chuzhou saw that she had fed all of the demon cores from her storage ring to the one-horned demon lizard, yet she did not get far. The single-horned demon lizard caught up with the miserable girl once again. Seeing that Yun Chuzhou did not throw more demon cores at it, the demon lizard knew that the girl did not have any more left. It opened its mouth wide and stretched out its tongue toward Yun Chuzhou. Stop it. Keep your tongue. I have something to say. Besides, I can't escape from your tongue. Don't tell me you don't even dare to let me have a few words. Yun Chuzhou dodged the single-horned demon lizard's tongue in a fluster and said while panting. The single-horned demon lizard naturally did not care much about Yun Chuzhou, this insignificant dish. It retracted its tongue and stared at Yun Chuzhou with its huge eyes. Demon lizard, do you want to leave this arcane realm? I see that you're powerful. You're probably the most unique in this whole desert, right? Then we have a problem. You'll probably never find a suitable partner in your life. If you made yourself lesser just to find a lowly partner, it'll be unfair to your descendants. How about we make a deal? Don't kill me, and it'll take you out of the arcane realm to find you a beautiful lizard. The single-horned magic lizard was dumbfounded. What? What was this human girl talking about? Looking for a partner? A beautiful lizard? The single-horned magic lizard's face turned red. Up until then, it was still a virgin lizard. Damn it! This human girl must have said this on purpose to humiliate it. I won't let her off. The single-horned devil lizard flew into a rage out of humiliation. It stuck out its huge tongue and swept it toward Yun Chuzhou. Oh, males and females should be married. What's there to be shy about? Let me tell you. With your looks, you won't be able to get a wife for the rest of your life. The single-horned demon lizard was so angry that it felt like it was about to faint. This little girl had been trying to curry favor with it and beg for mercy. Why did she suddenly change the way she talked? It must consume her. Looking at your ugly appearance, I reckon that only a female toad would be interested in you. It's a pity that you don't have that species here, so you should just give up on that idea. The single-horned demon lizard wished it could swallow Yun Chuzhou in one go. However, although this little human girl's spiritual power was low, her movements were too damn agile. It could not catch her. Damn it! Yun Chuzhou secretly estimated the time in her heart and finally smiled. Ugly reptile, do you think I'm afraid of you? Take this. Little Joe Thunderbolt. Chapter 293, was really too much. The one-horned demon lizard was very disdainful. It did not even try to dodge. To it, an attack from a level 4 spirit enhancement cultivator was nothing more than a scratch. Not only did the demon lizard not dodge, it even stuck out its long tongue toward Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio waved her right hand, and a purple lightning bolt directly struck at the single-horned demon lizard's tongue. The single-horned demon lizard was stunned. Was that a thunderbolt? And it was purple. The single-horned demon lizard was too shocked. It was actually struck to a daze by the lightning. In an instant, black smoke rose from its tongue. The single-horned demon lizard cried out in pain. This time, it was completely enraged. Due to the injury to its tongue, the single-horned demon lizard used its tough tail to attack. Its huge tail slapped at Yun Chujio. She struck the single-horned demon lizard's tail with another bolt of lightning. Although it did not leave a hole, it still made the single-horned demon lizard grimace in pain. What was going on? A mere 4th-level spirit-enhanced lowlife could not only emit purple lightning, but it could also attack consecutively. Was this even human? Could it be a great demon that had transformed? Although the single-horned demon lizard was shocked, it was not afraid. After all, the difference in strength was there. My skin is rough and my flesh is thick. Even if I am tired, I will tire this little girl to death. However, the single-horned demon lizard began to realize that something was wrong. Why was its spiritual energy gradually disappearing? The single-horned demon lizard had an ominous premonition in its heart. Its movements became slower and slower. However, the little human girl was getting more and more addicted to hacking it with thunderbolts. The single-horned demon lizard's tail was already beginning to emit black smoke from all the hacking. Why aren't you showing off, ugly reptile? Why aren't you showing off? Didn't you want to eat me up? Do you think that I'm so easy to take advantage of? To tell you the truth, the first 2 batches of demon cores I gave you didn't have any added finesse, but I've added them to the rest. Yun Chujio said as she zapped it. The first 2 batches of demon cores that she gave to the single-horned demon lizard were fine, but the single-horned demon lizard was very proud of teasing Yun Chujio. It did not realize that the later batch of demon cores had been wrapped by Yun Chujio's spirit-devouring powder. Yun Chujio was rambling on and on just to let the medicinal effects take effect. How could this single-horned devil lizard be better than the mischievous Yun Chujio? The single-horned devil lizard's mood was crumbling. It was a tier 8 demonic beast. In this desert, it was the absolute king. It was actually cheated by a little human girl at level 4 of spirit enhancement. It had nowhere to put its old face. Where did this weirdo come from? Not only did she have the thunder root spirit, but she was also full of evil tricks. She truly was a trickster. The single-horned demon lizard only had the advantage in size now. It no longer had any desire to fight. It turned around and was about to run away. Hey! You ugly reptile, stop right there. You ate so many of my demon cores and now you want to run away? No way. Those are my points. Yun Chujio thought to herself. If she let this single-horned demon lizard go, it would be like letting a tiger return to the mountains. Once it recovered its spiritual power, how would she survive? She had to kill it. Seeing that Yun Chujio was chasing after it, the single-horned demon lizard could only continue to fight with Yun Chujio fiercely. Although the demon lizard was huge, it had little spiritual power left. It was not a match for Yun Chujio, this perverted child. An hour later, the single-horned demon lizard was finally killed by Yun Chujio. She put the demon lizard's body into her storage ring and sat on the ground, panting heavily. This fierce battle was theoretically easy, but every step was extremely dangerous. If the single-horned demon lizard had not underestimated its opponent, she would not have had any chance of winning. Yun Chujio did not dare to stay any longer. After taking a short rest, she continued walking toward the east. Chapter 294, was about to die in the desert. Yunchujia's physical strength was almost exhausted. She took out a spiritual fruit given to her by Di Biming from her storage ring. After eating it, her physical strength instantly recovered by half. Yunchujio could not help but sigh. This fruit is really good. Next time I see the gigolo, I'll definitely ask for more. Although the gigolo is quite stingy sometimes, he seems to treat me well. Yunchujia's thoughts started to wander. Speaking of that, the gigolo's figure is really good. When will my body be a little more curvaceous? Yunchujio kept walking forward while her imagination ran wild. After about 2 hours, she finally saw green again. This time, she did not dare to act rashly. She carefully moved forward and then cheered, "Oasis. It's really an oasis this time." Yunchujio ran over. When she got closer, it was really a small desert oasis. Yunchujio deliberately checked it, but there was not a single demon beast. Yunchujio rolled her eyes and got an idea. The area was probably the single-horned demon lizard's territory, so the demon beasts naturally did not dare to get close. There were more than 100 sand dune willow growing on this small oasis. In the middle of the willow forest was a pool of clear spring water. The most amazing thing was that in such a hot desert, the spring water was actually cold. Just as Yunchujio was about to wash her face, the strange grass in her dantian began to become restless again, clamoring for Yunchujio to drink water. Yunchujio was just thirsty, so she squatted down and began to drink water. However, she never expected that after she had enough, she could not control herself anymore when she wanted to get up. Yunchujio kept drinking the water in the pool. She could not even close her mouth, let alone get up. "Bastard! Are you trying to rebel? Stop right now." Not only did the strange grass not stop, he even proudly twisted his body toward Yunchujio. "Just you wait. The moment I leave the mystic realm, I will cut your abdomen. I must get rid of you. You evil spirit." The strange grass, which was of the green foxtail species, paused for a moment, then ingratiatingly formed 2 of the leaves into the shape of a heart. "Fuck. You've learned how to act cute. It's useless. Just stop. Are you trying to stuff me to death? If I die, you won't live either. You're courting death. Obedient grass, as long as you stop, I'll immediately feed you a basin of pills, okay?" Unfortunately, no matter how Yunchujio threatened and lured it, the strange grass seemed to have made up its mind. It kept controlling Yunchujia's body to drink the spring water in the pond. Yunchujio wanted to cry, but she had no tears. If others found out that she was actually stuffed to death by the water, they would laugh their heads off. The most shocking thing was that she was also stuffed to death by the water in the desert. It was too weird, was it not? Yunchujio was at her wit's end. She felt like an old cow, constantly drinking the pond water. She cursed in her heart. This pond might not look big, but there must be a spring under it. How could she finish drinking it? She did not know what was wrong with the green foxtail in her dantian. Time passed and the sky gradually darkened. The temperature dropped sharply. Although Yunchujio lost control of her body, she still had her senses. She cursed the strange grass over 10,000 times with her spiritual sense. Although it acted cute and shameless from time to time, its attitude was extremely firm. It was to drink, drink, drink. Yunchujio could not help but think. People said that the Prime Minister could hold a ship in his stomach, but her stomach could even hold an aircraft carrier. Chapter 295, Secret of the Bottom of the Pond. Yunchujio felt that the strange grass was just trying to torture her. The single-horned demon lizard was so huge and it had been drinking the spring water for hundreds of years. How could a small body like hers finish all the spring water? In actual fact, Yun Chujio had misunderstood. The single-horned demon lizard occupied the area because the spring water was very cool. Although the spring water was so clear that one could see the bottom, the single-horned demon lizard did not dare to drink it because the spring water contained a lethal poison. The concept of poison did not exist in Yun Chujio's mind as of then because no matter what strange poison she encountered, it would become the nourishment for the strange grass. Just when Yun Chujio felt that she was about to freeze to death, the water level in the pool started visibly dropping. Yun Chujio was amazed. Did I really drink the spring dry? The water level gradually dropped, before finally revealing the pebble-filled bottom. Yun Chujio thought, if only these pebbles were all spirit stones. Then, it wouldn't be such a waste for me to drink a bellyful of water. Green foxtail, the water is all gone. You can let me off already, right? Yun Chujio was already exasperated by the strange grass. Unexpectedly, it instructed Yun Chujio's hand to start rummaging through the rocks at the bottom of the pool. Fuck. Green foxtail. You're just making fun of me, aren't you? Do you have a lover under these broken rocks? It's the middle of the night, and you're not letting me sleep. Are you crazy? Yun Chujio was about to go mad. The strange grass quickly formed the leaves into a heart shape and started acting cute. Get lost. Yun Chujio felt like she was about to break down. She searched through all the rocks at the bottom of the pond but did not find anything special. She did not even find the spring. It was really strange. Since there was no spring, where did the water come from? Finally, Yun Chujio found a plant that looked like an aquatic plant under a rock in the corner. It was so bright that if one did not look carefully, they would not have found it. After Yun Chujio grabbed the plant, it kept struggling, trying to escape. Before she could react, the strange grass ordered Yun Chujio to swallow the plant. Then, it grabbed the plant and began to nibble on it. Yun Chujio finally regained control of her body. Damn it! Did you torture me for so long just for a piece of broken waterweed? Green foxtail, just you wait, I must think of a way to kill you. The strange grass in her dantian was eating happily and turned a deaf ear to Yun Chujio's curses and threats. Yun Chujio did not have the time to keep cursing it because it was too cold. Yun Chujio quickly took out a quilt from her storage ring and wrapped herself up. It's too cold. I have to build a fire. Unfortunately, these willows aren't dead, or else, Yun Chujio stopped abruptly. It was only now that she realized that the willow forest, which was full of vitality before, had become dry with withered branches. What was going on? Yun Chujio inexplicably thought of the aquatic plant that was eaten by the strange grass. Could it be that the water in the pond was the willow's fluids? Were the aquatic plants supposed by the willows? Or were the willows the aquatic plant's food? Yun Chujio shivered. Why did she feel like she was in the same situation as the willows? Would she end up like them if the strange grass in her dantian was taken away? Chapter 296, Strange Grass Acting Cute. Yun Chujio felt that the strange grass in her dantian was like a ticking time bomb. Sooner or later, it would kill her. If she did not get it out, sooner or later, she would become its nourishment. However, if she got rid of it, perhaps she would become a mummy. It was a dead end no matter how she thought about it. Even the gigolo could not find the origin of this strange grass. Could it be that she could only wait for death? Fortunately, Yun Chujio was an optimistic and open-minded person. After a moment of melancholy, she pulled herself together. Damn it! Even the heavenly lightning can't kill me. I'm not afraid of some grass. There will always be a way. Just as Yun Chujio was cheering herself up, her stomach began to growl. Yun Chujio was laughing to herself. Damn it! She had drunk so much water, yet she was still hungry. Where did all the water go? Yun Chujio took out a large kitchen knife and cut some dried willows. She lit a bonfire, and it was finally warmer. Then, she took out a table from her storage ring, placed the food on the table, and started to eat. After eating and drinking, Yun Chujio cut a few dried branches to build a simple tent. Then, she put the rolling pin on top of the tent. Stay alert at the top of the tent, little flame. Call me if there's any movement. Yun Chujio stuffed a few thick branches into the bonfire. Then, she put down a few thick blankets inside the tent and laid down. Although she lit a bonfire and covered herself with a few layers of blankets, Yun Chujio still felt chilly. Sigh, the gigolo's clothes were turned to dust by the lightning last time. I'll have to ask him for 2 more sets of clothes another day. Those clothes are cool and insulated. They're much better than the ones I'm wearing. Ah, just mentioning the lightning makes my nose bleed. Sooner or later, I'll have to find a way to get rid of the strange grass. Otherwise, if I choke on my butt, won't those coquettish bitches benefit? Yun Chujio's imagination ran wild for a while before she finally fell into a deep sleep. As the single-horned demon lizard was very powerful, no demon beasts dared to step into the area. Therefore, Yun Chujio slept very peacefully that night. The next morning, Yun Chujio was woken up by the heat. The desert's climate was so strange. It was so cold at night, and so hot during the day. Yun Chujio could not help but sigh. The heat was even worse than the cold. If it was cold, she could build a fire and wear more clothes. However, if it was hot, there was nothing she could do. Unless she brought a pool with her at all times. Huh. When she said that, Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. Green foxtail. You made a big mistake yesterday. Shouldn't you show some gratitude to me? Yun Chujio said sourly when she saw that the leaves of the plant became even greener after it chewed on the aquatic plant. The strange grass swayed like a happy little pug. Yun Chujio felt that this strange grass was quite cute sometimes. Humph. No. This was just its sugar-coated shell. Under the shell of the strange grass was a scorpion-like heart. She must be on high alert. It's useless for you to act cute. Do something practical. It's so hot in the desert during the day. Bring out some of the water I drank yesterday and let me cool down. The strange grass curled up a few leaves and pressed them against the stem. It was as if someone was holding their chin in deep thought. Then, a shiny thing rolled down from one of the leaves. Yun Chujio felt a cool sensation on her body. She looked down and saw a small crystal bead in her palm. It was emitting cool air. Chapter 297, The Silver Desert Wolf. Humph. You know your place. Yun Chujio satisfyingly put the small bead in her pocket. After breakfast, she put out the bonfire completely and kept the simple tent in her storage ring. She thought for a while. The desert was so cold at night that she did not know if she would be able to walk outside if she needed to. It was better for her to cut some branches and have them ready. Therefore, Yun Chujio picked up the large kitchen knife and started cutting. After a while, she felt that it was too inefficient, and in the end, she simply used lightning to strike them. She was quite greedy and proceeded to keep half of the willow forest in her storage ring before continuing to walk east. She had long forgotten about the fear from last night. She bounced forward and sang as she walked, "You're the wind, and I'm the sand. It is lingering and winding around the ends of the earth." When she reached a slope, she simply curled her body into a ball and rolled down happily. She was having lots of fun. This so-called ancient arcane realm is still quite fun. No wonder he was unwilling to let me in. Stingy. Yun Chuzhou muttered to herself. A certain realm spirit was mad. Yun Chuzhou, you weirdo. He could not even kill her by throwing her into the wild desert. If it was not against the rules, it would have directly teleported her to the thorn of the giant cactus. It had spent a lot of effort gathering thousands of desert scorpions to besiege her, but who would have thought that those idiots would actually kill themselves? It was simply angered to no end. The fruit of the giant cactus was extremely poisonous and could make people or demon beasts go crazy. How could Yun Chuzhou eat so much and still be completely fine? Furthermore, the one-horned demon lizard was a tier 8 demon beast. It was actually played to death by that little weirdo. Was that not too weird? What made the realm spirit the angriest was that she actually ate that thing. She ate it. Such a heaven-defying little weirdo should not exist. This was against the law of heavens. It did not believe that it would not be able to kill her in its territory. Yun Chuzhou, just you wait. While Yun Chuzhou was jumping around happily, she suddenly sneezed twice. Damn it! Who's scolding me again? Speaking of which, why is this damn desert so big? When can I walk out of it? I won't be spending the whole month in the desert, right? Yun Chuzhou walked for a whole day. Other than the endless yellow sand, she did not meet a single soul. At night, Yun Chuzhou lit a bonfire. She was extremely glad that she had cut down a bunch of dried willow branches. Otherwise, she would have been frozen at night. When she slept until midnight, the rolling pin cried out in alarm, "Master! Master! Quickly get up! The situation isn't good." Yun Chuzhou jumped up and rushed outside the tent. She saw dust clouds rolling in the distance. It seemed that a large group of demon beasts was rushing over. Yun Chuzhou put away her tent and quickly ran away. My goodness, there are so many demonic beasts. Even if there were 10 of them, they would not be enough to satisfy her. Although Yun Chuzhou's body was light, she was in the desert after all, so she could not run fast at all. Soon, those demonic beasts caught up. Those demonic beasts worked well together. Some of them deliberately took a long route and arrived in front of Yun Chuzhou. Yun Chuzhou was trapped in the middle of these demonic beasts. Only then did Yun Chuzhou carefully examine those demonic beasts. It turned out to be dozens of silver desert wolves. They were tier 5 demonic beasts and were very fierce. Yun Chuzhou thought to herself, this silver desert wolf is very beautiful. Did it have tall silver fur? Yun Chuzhou was so stupid that the rolling pin was about to cry. Please, they want to eat you. You actually have the time to admire their appearance. Are you stupid? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.